Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome back to the review series going through all of the Spider-Man movies here on the True Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment channel. We've been going through and breaking down every single Spider-Man movie that exists. We've got through the Raimi trilogy. We finished the Marcus Webb Amazing Spider-Man duology, and we are here coming home. Spider-Man finally comes home to to Marvel itself, to the MCU, and to celebrate, they have a huge movie that really does set the tone for what Spider-Man's going to be in the MCU after his debut in Civil War. And we're going to talk about all of it. And of course, when I say we, I mean myself, I mean Sid, I mean Chase. And there's so much to get into. And Sid, how are you doing this fine evening?
I am doing well. I am much better than I was when we were talking about Amazing Spider-Man 2. This was a refreshing movie to watch. It was a good time.
There was no need to message me and like say that you don't like me as you're
Yeah,
watching it this time around.
I hate you. That's what I was telling you.
And Chase, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. It's a beautiful Tuesday here in sunny California. It's way too fucking hot, though.
Yes, but it is not too hot where you don't have the opportunity to hit that like button, comment, let us know what it was like for you to go, hey, Spider-Man debuting in Civil War. Oh, shoot, they're announcing a movie. He's going to be here in the MCU. Let us know what your favorite parts of Spider-Man Homecoming were. And if you're not already, we would love to have you guys subscribe as we push towards 1,000 subscribers and to share this video with all of your fellow comic book fans. Wow. So the announcement, I remember when that announcement happened that they were going to be able to have Spider-Man be part of the MCU. I think that's kind of a place to start with after all these years, knowing that he was going to be part of this movie franchise or this movie universe. What was the thoughts going through your head when you first heard that news, if you remember, Sid?
I was very excited. I mean, the MCU, this was at like peak MCU kind of fandom for everybody. Like post like Avengers, I think everybody was kind of into the MCU and then invested. And then as you go into like 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, that's prime MCU. So to know that Spider-Man is coming out, Spider-Man is going to be in Civil War, Spider-Man's coming out with his own movie, it was very exciting for us as longtime Spider-Man fans and fans of the Raimi films, and now seeing him kind of interact with all the other superheroes, because that was kind of the fad at the time, and that's what made all these movies like Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame such these big box office draws.
And Chase, what were your thoughts?
I was so excited, man. Because, like, I remembered, I was like, man, it sucks that Sony just has Spider-Man in a death grip. They won't let him go. Like, I just want Spider-Man in this universe. I was tired of seeing these fan edits of like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man being in the movies and stuff. I was like, man, dude, can we just get Spider-Man? I always remembered this was the one time I wasn't pissed at Marvel for spoiling something in the trailer. I know there's those fans. Why did they spoil this? No, I was happy when I saw the trailer and I hear on the roof and then Spider-Man. I was like, Spider-Man? And then afterwards, like, I always remember that Comic-Con too. Like, they're like, yep. And then they showed like the Marvel timeline map and they extend it. And then they show Spider-Man's getting his own movie. I was like, I was so back. I was so excited, man. Because I was just like, thank God my guy is back. Spider-Man is back. I don't know who the fuck this Tom Holland guy is, but who cares? Maybe he'll be good enough. No, nothing can be worse.
Yeah, I mean, there's a funny story about him working on, I forget what movie it was, but it was some kind of project with John Bernthal, and they each helped each other record the like audition tapes for Spider-Man and for Punisher. So it's really like fascinating story. Like they've known each other for a really long time, and I don't know if you guys caught the interview they both did on Hot Ones. They've each done it separately, but now together they were doing it together, and just the stories and the camaraderie that they have between them to now know that, you know, for them, just from like a personal standpoint, from where each one was at that point in time in their careers, to now know that they're going to share the screen in such a big movie as Brand New Day in a couple of days, like that's got to be incredible for them. But yeah, Tom Holland was a relative unknown. coming into the States at the time. But they decided to, it kind of was the idea of Dame Dash with Kanye. He was like, if he sucks, we're at least going to surround him with great people. And so they go, all right, we're going to get Michael Keaton to be in this cast, and we're going to make sure we have a lot of people that kids will know, that younger kids will know. We're going to go get Zendaya to be part of this movie. We're also going to make sure that we have Tony in this movie, because Robert Downey Jr. is the most bankable star out of all of Marvel. It does kind of feel like Dave Dash, like Kanye West, like, okay, let's just get Cam in there.
Give him the rub.
We'll get everybody in there. If he sucks, at least people will go see this.
You forget Robert Downey Jr. is great negotiating. Well, if I'm going to be in this movie, I have to at least make 10 million because I'm the star. And they're like, I don't know, like 10 million or I'm not showing up. All right, fine, Robert. We'll get these.
The amount of money Robert Downey Jr. has made just off of Marvel alone, it's ridiculous.
15 minutes of work for 10 minutes.
I was about to say he's in this movie for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, that is exact. It's 15 minutes. Yeah. I timed it. I was timing it, and I was like, $10 million, and you convinced them. The box office won't be as big. No one knows this Tom Holland cat. No one. Zendaya, she was like a Disney Channel star. No one knows these people. Me? They don't know me. All right, Robert Downey he's barely in it.
Hey, it's a smart move.
John Favreau is in this movie way more than fucking Robert Downey.
But Chase, what were your thoughts on the rest of this star-studded cast announcement? Because we're going from, granted, we had the Garfield movies there in between, but this idea of going from Tobey Maguire, now we're going to Andrew Garfield, now to Tom Holland, but then it's the supporting cast that also was an important part of what made the Raimi trilogy so good. And one of the persons that the three of us have talked up a lot in the Amazing Spider-Man movies was Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. So that supporting cast is hugely important. Yeah. What were your thoughts when we got a lot of the casting news about who was going to be joining this franchise?
I thought they killed it because we don't know who, because Tom Holland, like Andrew Garfield, at least we had Social Network, so we knew he was a good actor. Yeah. Tobey Maguire, he's one of Leo's friends, so we know he's a good actor. Like Leo DiCaprio helped him out a little bit. I don't know anything about Tom Holland. I don't know anything about this kid. Zendaya, I've seen her work. I know this woman can act. She could be a perfect once they said Zendaya's in the movie, I'm like, she's a love interest or something. I don't know what character she's going to play, but she's a character that's going to be a love interest of Peter Parker. Thought she was Liz at first, because they were talking about Liz was going to be a love interest. Okay, Michael Keaton, perfect. RDJ, I don't know how much he's going to be in the movie, but you can't go wrong with Robert Downey Jr., especially as Iron Man in this movie. So it was perfect because they needed something, because a lot of people don't know who this Tom Holland is. And like you said, worst case scenario, if this kid doesn't work out, I think Spider-Man's easy to recast. Hey, just say he got a haircut or something, like it's not that hard to recast like a youngish looking guy like Tom Holland. So yeah.
What about you, Sid?
And they also, to follow what Chase said, they also did that with Batman all the time, so they can easily have done it with Spider-Man. But yeah, it was a lot of good choices made here. Of course, the RDJ of it all, I gotta appreciate. I always show love to Roman for being a politician and getting as much money as possible from WWE. I gotta show love to RDJ for hustling Marvel and getting 10 million for 15 minutes, man. That's gangster.
Did you know the original thing he was trying to negotiate was a box office cut of the movie? And he was because he knew this movie was going to do well, and he was like, I want so RDJ, if you guys don't know, and you can read this in the Marvel book that's there. He gets a 10% cut of the box office for all these movies. And 10% is no small change, especially if you see what these movies make. So he was trying to negotiate a 10% cut plus like a flat rate for disappearing. And they were just like, fuck it, we'll just give you 10 million. Just shut up. And I was like,
just stop.
He was going to make money regardless. But damn, the fact that he finessed him to get 10 million is just amazing.
Finesse. The finesse is crazy. But yeah, go ahead.
No.
No, I was gonna say Michael Keaton was the big one for me as far as like the casting goes, because I'm a huge Batman fan, and that was my Batman growing up as a kid. So seeing him kind of older in a different role, and now he's a villain, that was kind of interesting. So I was interested in the movie because of that. Zendaya I wasn't really familiar with, because that Disney Channel generation is post my Disney Channel generation. I'm more of what was her name? Christy Allen Romano more than
Yeah,
I
even
am
Steven.
Zendaya. I'm of that era than I am of the Zendaya
Even
era. So
Stevens and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and I hadn't, and yeah, Euphoria hadn't been out yet, so at that time, so yeah, it wasn't a lot that I could see Zendaya in, but I was interested to kind of see what role she was playing in the movie. So that was kind of my understanding, and I was willing to see what Tom Holland did do because he was great in Civil War. The small role that he had, I thought he was awesome. He came off very much like a very young Peter Parker, and the innocence of it really translated well into this movie.
Yeah, and we had gotten a brief glimpse at our new Aunt May in Marissa Tomei in Civil War, and she has an expanded role here. And I think it's interesting that every time they've made a new iteration of Spider-Man, Aunt May has gotten younger and younger each time.
Yes.
There's just something about it that's funny. Also, Robert Downey Jr. and Marissa Tomei acted in a romance movie together many years ago. So the idea that Tony Stark is like, why is his aunt so good looking? Like, what's going on around here? Like, there's a little bit of precedent for that. But you know what? It's interesting that you guys, we were talking about the sheer amount of money that Marvel was paying Tony, because I was going to say Rob Downey Jr., because it does kind of lead into how this movie kicks off. And it starts with Adrian Toomes. We get introduced to Michael Keaton. It's the end of the Battle of New York, the big war or the big fight that happens in Avengers in 2012. And he owns a salvage company that he is working on. He's got the contract with the city to take care of a lot of the salvage. And he's like, we're going to make a lot of money doing this, and he's going to be able to feed himself, feed his family, feed all of his employees off of this contract for potentially years to come. And the amount of money that he can make off of just what he's going to salvage, incredible. However, out of nowhere, big government comes in, the feds come in, and they're like, listen, you got to stop. You got to stop everything you're doing. And he's like, well, why? And they go, we are the Department of Damage Control, and we are taking over all of this. And he's like, but I got a contract with the city. And they're like, yeah, we don't give it, like New York.
I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, it's like, we're the federal government. Your little New York thing is cool, but we're the feds. And part of this, and one thing that's nice about this scene is, one, it sets up who or what kind of is this inciting incident for Toomes, like what is building his character, but also it shows us his level of viciousness, because one of the government employees kind of says something to him about overextending himself, and he feels as though it's a step out of line. He just cold clocks the dude, which honestly I think was hilarious, because like the response from some of the government agents was to pull a gun on him. I was like, that seems a little excessive, but all right. And so he goes, who am I supposed to take this up with? And they go, the camera pans out, changes to go to a TV station where we see Tony Stark is working with Damage Control. It's a joint venture between Stark Enterprises and the federal government. And Toomes decides that, we're not going to turn over everything that we took, and we're going to try to build things out of it. The movie jumps forward 8 years later, where Toomes has now established a weapons lab where they create illicit and sell illicit weapons off of the technology that they retained and further have gotten over the course of Marvel movies. And what I think is interesting is that it does kind of, similar to Civil War, it was a movie where the villain is the product of previous things happening, right? Like Zemo is a product of Age of Ultron. Toomes and the Vulture suit and all that kind of stuff is a product of previous things happening. And I like that idea of this is permanence. There's some level of permanence. We also get our first image of the Vulture suit. So what did you guys think of just, it's just an opening scene, but it actually has a lot of information about the world building aspect and where we're going. Chase, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I liked it because the thing is, like, the problem with Marvel movies before Civil War, everyone's like, well, where's this person? Why isn't this motherfucker showing up? How come nothing's going on? They're not interconnected. And now Marvel's like, yeah, they're right. We got to make sure these things interconnect. There's some permanence, as you said, throughout our timeline, so it makes sense. So I like it. I like that there was some permanence. I like how Vulture becomes the Vulture. It's a nice, unique spin on how he becomes a villain, and we're starting the villain arc early. We don't have to wait an hour into the movie just to get to the villain. Hey, we know why Michael Keaton's the Vulture, but is he really a bad guy? I mean, I don't feel like he's wrong in this situation, like at all right now. So right now they're making me feel sympathetic for the Vulture, but as well, hey, there's a reason why. By the way, rest in peace, Damage Control, supposed to be a show that was going to
That's
be
right.
part of the MCU television,
Yeah.
and they canceled it. I don't know what happened, but rest in peace. You're with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We forget about you.
But Chase brings up a very good point about not having to wait so long to really see and understand what's going on with our villains. And Sid, that was one of the things that bothered you a lot about the two Amazing Spider-Man movies. So how did you feel in just this short amount of time getting so much information, but it doesn't feel as though it's an overload?
Yeah, this is a efficient use of time in the movie. Like, this is one of the better kind of introductions to our villain. Usually, we saw with a kind of with Green Goblin, we got introduced to kind of Norman Osborn, and we got to kind of see the accident, then see him kind of devolve into the villain. We got to see it the same thing with Doc Ock. We got to see it with the Sandman. We got to see it with Venom, and so on and so forth with the Amazing movies. The less I say about those, the better. But like, we hadn't got it like immediately in the opening minutes, and this well done. And you have Michael Keaton, who just controls and steals every single scene he's in this movie, and he did here as well. And he immediately makes himself sympathetic yet still evil at the same time, which makes for a different type of villain than what we've seen. And this was a run of like great villains. They would have the off movie and so forth, but when you go from like, to me, for the MCU, it really started with Captain America, Winter Soldier. You get Winter Soldier, and then you get movies like Civil War with Baron Zemo, and then you get this one with the Vulture. It's like this is a Marvel, a masterpiece, and then it's gonna go on and so forth with Killmonger and Black Panther, and this is a killer run of villains for Marvel, and this is another one, and it's so well done from the opening minutes of the movie.
Well, if we have a lot establishing our villain, we have to know who is the hero that's going to be fighting the person. And yes, we know it's who it's going to be, but we really only had a couple of moments with Peter in Civil War. We got to really kind of establish who this person is, and they do that through a montage of Peter in like from when he got recruited by Tony all the way through the return from the fight, from the airport fight sequence. It's a hilarious just series of events where he's accidentally, unintentionally annoying Happy Hogan. He's getting involved in these fights. His mind is just, he's getting his mind blown by all the people that he's meeting and interacting with. Finally, they end with Tony and Pete in the backseat of the car outside of Pete's house, or outside of the apartment in Queens. And Tony's like, we should record a little, video kind of explaining to your aunt what's going on. He's like, hey, May, how's it going? Hope you're wearing something skimpy. It's like, again, like, he's just got to have that comment. Like, why?
My jaw was on the floor. It was like I heard it for the first time. When
the best part of it is when he says it, like, Spider-Man's just like, wait, what? Like, why are we talking about this? But there's a heartwarming kind of scene where Tony establishes what his desire is for Peter, which is to kind of remain that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And it's like, don't do the things I wouldn't do, but don't do all the things I would do. Like, there's a fine line in between. That's where you operate. And we have that moment where we don't know it yet, the importance of it, but Tony's reaching over to unlock the door, and Pete thinks he's trying to give him a hug. And Pete's like, oh, I'd love to give you a hug, Mr. Stark. And he's like, we're not there yet. Which I think is hilarious, because like, we don't even think about that. Like, yeah. And then what happens in Infinity War happens. But he finds out that they're going to call him. And then it goes to 2 months later. He's on the train. He's on the train, which I think he's in. Supposed to be. It looked a lot like Astoria to me, like some kind of R train situation in Astoria. But Pete's doing a whole lot of nothing. He's been texting Happy Hogan. Not only has nothing happened, Happy's just been ignoring him. Has not been saying anything back. We then get to the school situation of Midtown Magnet High, where we meet Flash Thompson, a revamped or reimagined Flash Thompson. Instead of being a physical bully, he is much more of a nerd style bully, which was a sort of an interesting change.
He's a social bully. He's like
not physical bully. It's like more of that. He's not supposed to be an idiot, I guess, is the easier way to put it. Flash is supposed to be a little bit more of a dumbass. We also meet this version of Betty Brant, and we meet his best friend, Ned, as well as getting some information about there's a homecoming banner up. And that's where we get our idea. Okay, this is going to be connected to the high school concept of homecoming, which also introduces us to the perceived love interest of the movie in Liz. We also get a image or a scene where Pete's trying to work on his web fluid. We see more homecoming stuff. And what I thought was interesting was the movie does a great job of having Zendaya in shots and never referencing her. Like, she doesn't really talk. She's just there, like, in the background. And so, like, for us who are walking into this movie going, okay, well, Zendaya is far bigger name than Laura Harrier, who's playing Liz. Like, obviously she's got, wait, why are they doing this? What? You would think it would be Zendaya, but it's over here with Liz. And Zendaya, what's going on here? And finally, we have the decathlon class where Pete is getting harassed by Flash about his Stark internship and what it is, what it isn't, and all that kind of stuff. How did you guys feel about this introduction to Peter, the images of him and in high school, getting all of that established, as well as meeting his classmates and friends? Sid, we'll start with you.
This is just establishing kind of the setting as well as the different characters that we have. I do agree with you. You pointed out one of my favorite notes of this portion of the movie is how they set up this Zendaya reveal so well throughout the movie, and it just starts here and it just goes throughout the movie, and then they don't pay it off until the end. I was like, yo, that was great. An amazing job of setup and delivery the whole entire movie. Because no one says her name. It's great. Yeah. It's great stuff. It's great stuff. This is it's cool. I really enjoy the casting of Ned. He is such a likable person. The actor does a great job of just coming across like the ultimate best friend, the ultimate nerd, but still so trustworthy at the same time. So it makes it okay with the scene that we're gonna get in a little bit here.
And Chase, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, because I liked how they established what universe he's kind of living in. Because unlike the other Spider-Man movies, every other first Spider-Man movie has all right, let's get to the part where he gets bit by a spider. He's already been bit by the spider. They don't have this. So what can they do? So let's establish the world he's in. Let's establish his high school life. What's he like in high school? Who's his antagonist in high school? Who's his best friend? Who's his love interest? Stuff that we would care about Peter Parker. So I liked how they did this here. I like him being left on red because like he's thinking, oh, I'm now going to go on these cool missions with Mr. Stark and everything. And it's like, sorry, kid, the Avengers are on pause right now. Cap messed everything up. RDJ, they're not on speaking terms right now and everything. He does not know this, but we know this as an audience. Like, yeah, man, you ain't going on no adventure anytime soon. So calm down and stuff. But I do like how they introduce different Spider-Man characters like Ned Leeds. He's normally like someone totally different. They said, screw having a Harry Osborn in this one. Let's go with the Ned Leeds. Like, we're gonna go with the Ned Leeds. We're gonna go with Liz, who was like, Peter Parker's first crush, like in the original run of the comics. Let's go with that. And like you said, the Zendaya thing, because I know Zendaya because I have little female cousins. So whenever I had to go babysit them, Casey Undercover was the only one of the only shows we'd be watching. So I knew who Zendaya was. So when I saw that Liz was played by some girl, no offense to the actress, I didn't know who the fuck she was. I was like, that's not Zendaya. And then I'm just seeing Zendaya in the background. And I'm like, oh, hell no. You have Zendaya not doing. why'd you announce her? She's, oh, and then like Sid said, it pays off in the end. But first initial watching, I was like, really? Zendaya got casted just to chill? Like what? I was confused because I knew who Zendaya was. I knew how talented she was on that Disney Channel show that I was forced to watch. Like she was great in that, and I didn't even care for her. I was just like, man, this woman's really good.
Yeah, she basically plays for a lot of this movie Rue Bennett.
You're getting ready without the drugs.
I mean, as somebody who has never seen Euphoria, I can appreciate that. Like it like gives me a glimpse into what Euphoria is. But Pete is throughout the course of this bit, he is waiting for the clock to just hit 2:45, and to the point that some of the things he's just kind of ignoring. And one of the conversations he listened to, but is going to forget about, is that Ned's going to be coming over later to work on the Death Star Legos. That's going to be relevant. But as soon as it hits 2:45, all thoughts of school, all thoughts of anything that happened immediately just go, I forgot about those. He leaves and is changing into the Spider-Man suit. He's texting Happy to say, I'm ready. I'm on patrol. New York is safe. Don't worry. We're here to serve and protect. And who's he here to serve and protect? He stopped a bike theft. He helps an old lady with directions. And he attempts to stop a car theft, but it was that person's car. And it leads to a scene where we get like some classic New York tenement housing style conversations, including our cameo by Stan Lee. We get earlier where there's a scene where he's getting a sandwich in a bodega. I appreciated the fact there was a bodega cat. This whole bit feels very New York. It feels very New York, which is always an important thing for Spider-Man to have, that grounded roots in New York and New York City, like just all the people. And again, there is somebody. See, now they're building on the idea that Tony finds Aunt May attractive to everybody finds Aunt May attractive, including the bodega guy who Pete gets it's like a little bit of an argument with, because like he understands that dude is saying in Spanish to another to another employee, like, his aunt's really hot. He's like, how's your daughter? You charge double. He's like, double? What are we talking about? But there is later in the evening, there are a bunch of guys who are attempting to cut into a ATM machine or an ATM in a bank. And Pete's like, wait a minute, the Avengers? Because they're all wearing Avengers masks, which was a fun little Easter egg there, or like just reference. But we start getting a bit of the Spider-Man quips and the humor and the funniness that he has, and he tries to stop this theft. Unfortunately, in the process, the bodega is destroyed. It's across the street from the bodega. He does save the owner as well as the bodega cat, and we get a cut to Happy getting on the phone with Peter, because Peter's trying to tell him about this weapons that these guys were using, this technology. And we find out that moving day is coming up soon, where Happy is packing up all of Avengers Tower. Tony has sold Avengers Tower, and this is our first idea, like, wait, what's going on? And now we do know about the upstate location, but the idea that Avengers Tower itself would be decommissioned, so it's an interesting change. Pete tries to tell Happy about the weapons. Happy doesn't really care. Happy just basically hangs up on him because he's got more important things he's got to worry about. Pete gets home, does his best to avoid Aunt May, but the Spider Sense did not tell him that Ned's in the room. Apparently, it must have just been like, this Ned isn't a threat, so why would we have reason to warn you? And so Pete turns around after he's closed the door, and Ned's just sitting there on the bed with the Death Star. And it's a great, hilarious thing. Like, it just falls out of his hand, shatters, like breaks into all these pieces. Ned is sworn to secrecy. And Ned's like, I got all these questions. Like, what's going on? And Pete's like, tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Ned leaves. May and Peter go out to eat, where again, we have somebody mentioning that. I love how basically they were like, listen, Marissa Tomei is a very attractive woman. We're just going to lead into this. We're going to lead heavily into this bit. But on the news, they see the news report about the attack at the bodega and everything that happened there. And we get a glimpse and an understanding that May is very overprotective of Peter. And she says to him, if you see something like that happen, I want you to run the other way. And Pete's like, well, this could be awkward. Maybe this is a reason why I shouldn't tell her. But by the way, I need a new backpack because his backpack got stolen that had all of his regular clothes in it. So now that we get a real glimpse of Pete in New York, doing New York things, we're getting more of that. How did you guys feel about Ned finding out about he is Spider-Man, as well as this establishment of what could be a conflict between May and Peter not wanting to tell her and to hide things from her? Chase, we'll start with you.
Yeah, Peter must have become a big Star Wars fan all of a sudden because he couldn't even remember the movie in Civil War, and then all of a sudden now he's building the Death Star. So in that short month period, he must have watched all the Star Wars movies to want to buy like an $800 Lego to build with his friend. Where did he get this money to build this Lego? I want to know.
Internship, of course.
Yeah, sure. But no, I like it because one, it shows that it's like such stupid petty crimes. It's just like such stupid shit that he's doing. So I thought it was hilarious that he was just stopping like such minuscule things. But I also like when the guys do rob, we get a little taste of what he's going to be facing throughout the movie. Okay, this is what he's going to be facing. These type of weapons and stuff. Like we get a nice little taste from it. So I like it. He shows that he's heroic and stuff. The Ned reveal was fine because I felt like we're going to get how many films are we going to get out of this? I don't know. Like at this time, they don't even know. They don't know what this movie's going to do in the box office. They don't know if Spider-Man's a long-term fixture in the MCU. Because they still have to borrow from Sony. They have to ask Sony for permission all the time. So they may have just had it where it's like this movie and the 2 Avengers movies, and then Spider-Man's done until they saw how much this movie made. And then Sony's like, we back in business, buddy. But so I understand. Hey, let's have it where one of his friends knows he's Spider-Man. I had no problem with this. Like, especially if it's like going to be his guy in the chair type of thing in Ned, which it was going to be his role anyways. That's totally fine. I'm cool with it.
And how did you feel about this, Sid?
Yeah, I thought it was a smart move because we've seen with the 2 other series from the live action Spider-Mans, they let the love interest know who that he's Spider-Man, but they never let the friend know that they're Spider-Man. The friend knows only if they want to kill them, basically, Harry. So it was nice to kind of see a friend know very early on. We're only like 45 minutes into the film, and we're already letting Ned know. So it's changing the dynamic already and giving us kind of a different perspective of the Spider-Man story. Like you said, it's all, and I want to say, like right from the beginning, right from these opening minutes, these opening scenes, Tom Holland is immediately showing he is a great Peter Parker because he has that innocent, that doe eye, that nativity that you need from a young Spider-Man. But then he's a great Spider-Man as well with the quips when he's fighting the guys in the bank, and just makes it so entertaining, makes it so unique from every other superhero scene that we will see in the MCU, especially at this time.
Yeah, it does really add that level of like how well he's able to pull off both roles. It does, and like his quips are good. Like there's always Tobey never really had too many of them. Andrew had
none. Tobey like was just talking, and it's like, Tobey, this is not funny. There's nothing funny about it.
Yeah,
Andrew had some good ones, and then this version of Peter, Tom Holland's version, also really, really good. Like they do play up that humor aspect.
He's the most balanced Peter and Spider-Man out of the 2 actors, because
yes,
Tobey was a good Peter, but a subpar Spider-Man in general. Andrew was a great Spider-Man, but a subpar Peter. This guy, he's good at both. He's a good Spider-Man. He's a good Peter Parker. You just like this guy. I don't understand these beefs people have between the 3 Spider actors. Just admit there's some things are good at something. Look, I'm a Tobey Maguire fanboy. I love Tobey, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he's the best Spider-Man. No, he's fine. Yeah. He does his thing, but I still love him the most. Like I don't care if Brand New Day makes 1.2 billion. If you gave Tobey that script and you gave Tobey that opportunity, just same thing, man. I'm just saying. Who got the loudest reaction at No Way Home?
Hey, in my theater, it was Matt Murdock.
Hey. I'm a really good lawyer.
I love that the actor went to a screening because he was like, oh shit, people are actually excited to see me in the movie. He went and no one cheered at his screening. He goes, damn.
Charlie Cox was like, Netflix has lied about their subscriber count, and who is watching my show?
Yeah, because Charlie Cox said, oh man, they all love me. Oh shit, I gotta go see it. And he snuck into a screening. And then he waited for his scene, and then once he heard no one reacted to it, he was in the movie.
He walked out.
He left. And he said, "I'm humbled now." Like, cause he really said he was getting texts from everybody saying, "Like, bro, when you popped on the screen, big applause, cheers, and everything." And he's like,
"These people are lying to me.
I gotta see it for myself." I'd feel so betrayed if I was in a movie and you guys are like, yo, Chase, you popped up, and I go and I'll be like, yo, you motherfuckers lied to me. No one cheered.
You lied. You lied. They ain't do nothing.
I'll play the electro theme. You lied to me.
But Ned is to say he's full of questions would be to undersell how many questions he has. He has a question every moment of the day as soon as he meets Peter to get to school. I thought it was a nice touch that in that scene where they're walking in and they see the bodega and everything, Peter is carrying all of his books because he doesn't have the new backpack yet. Like those little details. Yeah. But they get to school and Ned is just pestering him with questions. And Peter's just like, you got to shut up. Like, you got to shut up. Like, we don't talk about this. It's like, we don't talk about Fight Club. And Ned's just like, is refusing to let this go. And sure enough, they're in gym class where we get a funny ass cameo appearance from none other than Captain America, Chris Evans himself, where it's like, so we're here with your gym teacher, my personal best friend. And he like points to his right. The teacher's on the left-hand side of the thing. And they're doing this Captain America's fitness challenge, which I can only imagine is like that presidential fitness challenge. If you guys had that when we were kids.
Yeah. That's probably how Triple H shows up on kids' videos nowadays in gym class. To be like, have you taken your Donald Trump fitness test yet? Well, let me tell you something. This is what we do.
I want to ask you kids something. Are you ready? No, I said, are you ready? He gets all people hyped up. He does the water spit. The game just starts playing in the background. You're going to be going through a physical test. Full of sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, everything of that nature that will prove you're the strongest and make America the strongest again. And the game's playing in the background, and it's like, why am I listening to this? Who's this guy? Triple H?
And I mean, everybody's taking this test. I mean, the fatty in the corner and you skinny fat.
You skinny fat ass. Yeah, I see you on the top right bleacher. You think you can hide from me? The game sees all.
I even got Phil to go to the gym.
Remember Triple H's workout book that came out in the mid-2000s?
I've seen it. I've never read it.
I was like I thought it was an autobiography, so I bought it thinking it was an autobiography when I was a little kid, and I was just reading it. I was just like, why is he? I was like, Triple H is just talking about working out the whole time. I don't get this.
That's his life? Is that his life, Paul?
Yeah, no, it was like what you should be. It's literally like it had some good workout tips. I used it when I was getting into weight training. Like I was like, oh yeah, I remember I bought that Triple H workout book. But yeah, because I bought like the Eddie Guerrero book, the Edge book, and I was like, oh cool, Triple H got a book. I'm gonna read this, and then I'm like, push-ups at bicep curls, pasta for dinner. Fuck is this? I was all confused.
But Ned is asking Peter if he, like about being the guy in the chair, and Pete's like, what? Like, why would I need a guy in the chair? Like, what is going on? But they then overhear Liz talking with a few of her friends. They do basically like the fuck, marry, kill of the Avengers, and then Spider-Man's name pops up out of nowhere, and Pete is just like, say what now? We talking about Spider-Man? Talking about maybe fucking Spider-Man? What's going on around here? And they're talking about him, and Liz kind of expresses some level of interest in Spider-Man, a romantic interest. And Ned blurts out that Peter knows Spider-Man. And Pete's like, I
I
have
hate you.
literally been asking you to shut the fuck up
All day.
the entire day. The one time I absolutely needed you to shut the fuck up, you said, Pete knows Spider-Man. And of course, who is there but Flash? And Flash is like, oh yeah, how does he know him? And Pete's got to be like, oh, it's from the Stark internship. And Flash is like, yeah, the Stark internship. How about this? Liz is having a party. Why don't you bring good old Spider-Man through? And instead of finding a way to de-escalate this, they basically are like, yeah, let's go to the party and show up, and then we'll have Spider-Man show up out of nowhere. So we have a scene where Aunt May is driving them out to, I'm assuming, Long Island, for this house, and we get to this party scene, and Pete's going to show up as Spider-Man. He's changed everything. He's getting ready to go, and then somewhere in the distance, he sees some kind of blue energy explosion kind of thing. He investigates and finds some kind of a weapons deal going down, and he sees this technology and goes, well, this looks oddly similar to the sophistication of what those guys were using when they were trying to cut through and steal the ATM at that bank. But then his phone goes off because Ned is like, where the fuck are you? And this alerts everybody to the deal. He drops down and says, hey, if you're going to shoot at somebody, shoot me. And so the guy goes, all right. So he starts shooting at him, and Pete's like, and they're fighting, and they're getting a situation. Now he's got to give chase. We have a fun reference to Ferris Bueller in this whole scene where he's running similar to Ferris.
Cool movie.
Yeah, they have on the screen somebody's watching Ferris Bueller, but it's literally the scene where Ferris is running through to try to get back to the house in time. So when the principal's coming after him. And so we have this reference. It's a great reference in the idea of John Hughes has a lot of influence on this movie and just generally what John Watts was aiming for these movies. But he tries to stop the deal. He's chasing them. And then all of a sudden, out of fucking nowhere, Vulture shows up. Adrian Toomes shows up, grabs him, drops Pete into a lake, and they do a great, like, oftentimes Marvel does this or like kind of relies on this, sometimes a little too much. It worked very well here, I thought, but they often rely upon this like dire situation, and then something happens off screen, or like suddenly like somebody just like kind of like a Deus Ex Machina. And we have that here when out of nowhere, similar to how Vulture showed up, Iron Man shows up, picks Pete out of the lake, and he is rescued by Tony. Except it's not actually Tony, because we find out that there's nobody in the suit. Tony is actually at a wedding in India, and he's like, thank God this place has Wi-Fi. And Tony tells him that if he sees the weapons again, to call Happy. Now, what I think is interesting here is that this scene, as short as these scenes are, that RDJ is involved in, they do something very important. They reference the fact, or they keep reiterating the fact to hammer it home, that even though Pete thinks that it's a one-sided conversation between him and Happy Hogan, Happy is actually relaying these the things that Peter is telling him to Tony, and Tony is remembering these things, which is going to be referenced, which is going to be important later. And so, but Pete doesn't appreciate the fact that he's being sidelined in his mind over what's happening. And while he is returning to the party, he comes across one of the pieces of technology that fell out of the van. What were your guys' thoughts on this whole bit from when Ned starts asking these questions that gets us into this party scene to our Tony involvement? This is the first Tony involvement of this narrative, because previously it was just what was happening with Civil War. Sid, we'll start with you.
Ned is such an endearing doofus that I can't help but love him, even when he messes up like this. Like, he's so adorable. He's adorable. So I can't get mad at him too much. It got them into the party. He was rocking his hat, which even May complimented him on. And then we get into the whole fight. We get that whole interaction with like the gun and everything, and it shows Pete's bravery, saying if you want to shoot anybody with the gun, shoot me, shoot me. So I like all of that. I like the uses of Donald Glover, and we'll get to know his character a little bit more in the upcoming scene. So yeah, this was all a whole bunch of fun here, and seeing Pete kind of deal with high school and deal with Ned and see their dynamic, into once again seeing Tom Holland shine in the Spider-Man role.
And Chase, how about you?
Yeah, I like this a lot, especially because Ned, like, he didn't need to say that Peter knows Spider-Man, but he was just like, you know, when you have it where it's like the most popular girl in school is having a party, mentions it, just bring it up. And then Peter's like, oh, what the fuck, man? Are you serious and stuff? And then afterwards, flash the social bully. Really? How do you know Spider-Man? You can't let this punk out do you. Yeah, Spider-Man will be at the party. I'm going to be there. Like, I'm Spider-Man. I'm going to be there. And then him, you know, doing the morally right thing, going to stop these guys. Nice little fight scene. Nice little Ferris Bueller Day Off reference. But also the Vulture. When the Vulture grabs him, Sam Raimi would have been proud of this little jump scare of his face. Sam Raimi's like, that was supposed to be me, damn it. That was my idea. How dare they? But this just nice little, like, you show how intimidating the Vulture is. It's like even Peter was freaked out. He's like, oh, shoot, when he sees that, and they show the face, the music, and by the way, the score is really good in this movie. And then him getting dropped in the lake. I love how it's not Tony Stark in there. I laughed when I first saw it in the theaters. I think I was the only person laughing in the theater too, which made it more embarrassing. And so then afterwards, like, even at home, I'm laughing. I'm like, man, freaking, he doesn't even show up for this scene. And so and I love Peter's frustration that they're trying to build, that he feels that like the Avengers don't take him seriously. Because I could get it, because it's like, hey man, your first mission, you went to go stop Captain America, Scarlet Witch, Bucky, I forgot his name, Winter Soldier, Falcon, Ant-Man. You literally were put into the fire your first mission. So you have this, and he's a high schooler. He has this grandiose ideas that he's going to be doing all this shit all the time. He's going to be doing Avenger level stuff. But Tony Stark is like, oh, okay, you're not ready for that. I needed you because we were desperate at that time. This time it's different. This is my mess I have to clean up. Like, you can tell that's what Tony's saying. Like, him and Happy, or we can't get him involved in this because this is our mess. But Peter, he's looking at it as like, oh, man, they're demoting me. They're treating me like I can't handle it. And it's like, well, yeah, you can't. I'm sorry, buddy. You're not there yet. Like, we just needed you in that one moment of time when you were facing people that we can control, and Captain America and stuff. Like, sorry, man. He even
says if Cap wanted to take you out, he would have taken you out.
Yeah, exactly. Because dude, I'm sorry, like, Peter, you're being backed up at the time with Black Panther, War Machine, Vision. Like, yeah, I'm gonna bring someone I don't know to a fight, but I know I have those motherfuckers behind me boxing. I'm gonna be like,
exactly.
We got Vision and Black Panther. Oh, we good, man.
I just need a fifth guy to keep them busy. Like, that's all I need.
War Machine's like, what about me? You're just me with more missiles, bro. Like, calm down.
But yeah, I really did like that part where he says to him, is like, if Cap wanted to, he would have put you down. Because Pete's like, I was fighting Captain America for you. He's like, okay, you were fighting him, but like, you got to remember who it was you were fighting at the time.
Yeah.
But we then get to see Vulture's level again, reminded of this viciousness, where he is pissed about everything that's happened with this deal that's happening. And we also get a brief reference to some kind of high altitude seal. And maybe that will be important in a little bit down the road. Peter, meanwhile, is like, listen, if Tony thinks that I can't handle this, the logical thing to do is to prove him wrong. And I'm going to do that by investigating everything that I have found with this glowing purpley thing. And so we have a funny scene where they're in the school lab, school machine shop. We're trying to figure out what this thing is. Meanwhile, Vulture has sent two of the guys to they have a tracker set up, and they've tracked them to the school. They've got to evade from these guys, but in the process, Peter puts his own spider tracker on them so that he's going to know where they're going. Earlier in the movie, at the decathlon class, he had basically said, I'm quitting the team because of the Stark internship. And so he's not going to be part of this trip to DC. However, once he finds out that the tracker has finally stopped and it's in the DMV area, he runs back to the decathlon team and he's like, hey, guys, remember me? And Flash is like, no, you can't just leave. You can't just leave and think that we're just going to welcome you back. And the teacher's like, Pete, you're back.
He was like, Flash, you're back on the bench.
Flash is feeling like Peter after Civil War. So we get a bus trip down to DC. Meanwhile, once we are waiting to see like how exactly Peter's going to figure this out, he's trying to figure out how to disable a tracker because Tony, or I guess empty Iron Man suit, revealed to him that there is a tracker built into Peter's suit. So first he's having Ned take a look at the suit and figure out how they're going to remove this tracker. But while Ned's doing that, Ned also removes something called the training wheel protocol. And Ned, correctly, is like, but don't you think this is here for a reason? And Pete's like, but how am I going to prove to Mr. Stark that I can do things if the training wheel protocol is there? And Ned's like, this seems dumb, but okay. And so he removes the training wheel program. Pete is going, all right, I'm gonna figure out what's going on. I'm gonna go to where these guys are. This must be their hideout. It must be their lair. And in order to do that, he's got to sneak out of the hotel room. As he's doing that, Liz shows up. They have a conversation about how they're going to do like some team building, bonding thing in a pool, like sneak out, do, get camaraderie. And he has to make a choice. The idea of being able to hang out with Liz, who he has a crush on, or do something that he thinks he needs to do as Spider-Man. And it's, that age-old question. Can Peter Parker have it all? He's going to try, but he's not always going to be successful. And so in this situation, sure enough, being Spider-Man wins out. He turns down a chance to hang out with Liz, and he is going to this meeting, or at least try to figure out where this location is. And we get our introduction to the AI system in Pete's suit, which he didn't really know was there. Now, what I think is fascinating here is they went and got Jennifer Connelly to be the voice of the AI. And it's hilarious because it's like, she's married to Paul Bettany, who is Vision and previously was the voice of Jarvis. So it's like we're keeping the AI checks in the same household. We lost the Jarvis checks. We're getting Spider AI checks. He goes to the meeting place or at least where the tracker has said they are. There is a great exchange, like just this level of humor, the way the plot, the script builds this in, where he's talking to Jennifer Connelly's AI, who hasn't been named yet, and he's learning maybe he should have left the training wheel protocol on because there's so many things that the suit can do. She's like, you have 567 web fluid shooter combinations. He's like, what? And then she's like, would you like me to activate instant kill? Instant kill? What? No, I don't want to kill anybody.
I don't want to kill anybody.
What are we talking about? So we get also like the movie plays with a humor scene where he's in the background, like accidentally like shooting electric taser web shots. But the Vulture's crew, they're all in the van talking to each other, so they don't see it. Then we have a truck or a convoy of trucks arriving, and the heist is on. Vulture shows up, has a really cool piece of technology that allows him to phase through solid walls. Peter shows up and gets involved, and he's able to foil part of the plan, but Vulture, doing some quick thinking, is able to trap Peter inside of the container, and we don't know where Pete's going to end up. So what did you guys think of this? Because we are seeing now this section deals with a better view of what Vulture is like in the present day, and ends with Vulture being like, I don't know who you are, but you're not going to keep interfering with my plans. And this whole science trip in between. Chase, will start with you.
Yeah, him doing this, like removing the chip and everything, as us as viewers, we think it's stupid, but also it keeps Iron Man out of the picture. So that way, Tony Stark cannot babysit him. And then for someone like me who's like, well, why didn't Captain America just show up? Then it's like, oh, okay, that's why no one could track him because he took that thing out of his system. So you won't get Grumpy Chase being like, this makes no sense. Because sometimes I can get like that with the MCU movies. I'm like, no, they should always be interconnected with each other. But very good stuff. I like how he decides I'm not going to go with this really attractive woman into the pool. I got to prove Mr. Stark right. I got to prove Mr. Stark wrong. My love for Tony Stark is greater than my high school crush right now. So I got to go solve this mystery on my own. I really like to introduce it to the AI, him kind of learning like, oh shit, this suit is like really, really powerful, maybe too powerful for my own good. Like I have all this stuff that I could do. Like I didn't even know I could do all this stuff. Like what? So and that goes back to Tony Stark being an overprotective person because of the vision that he saw at the end of Avengers. He wants to put the world in a suit of armor. Well, if he's going to give this kid a suit of armor and his spider suit, he's going to make sure this kid will never die in battle, and it's not going to be his fault. So it makes sense why his suit has all these scenes, because Tony Stark is just an overprotective person just in general.
Sid, how about you?
Yeah, this was a really good section of the movie, kind of seeing Peter quick thinking with coming up with the plan to go on the trip so he can have basically an excuse to be in that area and follow up on everything. And I really love how they are establishing Vulture as a threat to Peter.
Mm-hmm.
You see him the first time, he dumps him in the lake. You see him this time, he beats Peter and Peter's stuck in the truck, and then he winds up in the whole warehouse. So all of these times, this is Vulture getting wins over Spider-Man, which is not what we got in the last two movies. So I thought it was very refreshing.
Yeah. I also want to point out one thing, because I've seen some people always complain about Flash in these movies. A lot of people don't understand Midtown is supposed to be a technical school. It's like a nerd school. It's not meant to be this. Flash gets portrayed as a jock, yes, but he's really, really, really smart. So it's okay that Flash is skinny in this movie, because Midtown is not supposed to be this big time, like everyday high school that everyone can go to. You have to be a super duper nerd to go to Midtown. Like the decathlon team is like the pride and joy of Midtown, not their football team. They have sports. Their sports teams aren't good. Like Spider-Man mentions this in the comics that like, I don't know why we went to this football game. We're just going to get blown out and stuff. So Midtown is not a big time. Like, I just want to clarify, because a lot of people don't understand what Midtown is. They just think it's a normal ass high school when it's supposed to be like
Magnet.
Yeah, it's like
and they also have to take into account that the fact that they went in the direction of Flash being a social bully instead of a physical bully meant that Flash was in all three of the trilogy movies. Like Flash is always in one movie. He's there for Peter to discover his powers, beat him up, and then you move on.
Yeah.
And we got something a little bit different in Amazing Spider-Man 1, where we get like a redemption arc for him, where he actually is sympathetic to Pete. And then here we get him for all three movies, where he's this he's a very hilarious character, because he hates Peter but loves Spider-Man.
Great side. In the third movie, he steals it. Like, he's so good in the third movie with his book and everything. You read my book? Yes. I'm like, no, shut up.
I just got done preparing for our next review, and he's great in the second movie too.
He's so good. Yeah.
But I do like that that reference of what you're bringing up about Tony and putting so much care and thought into the suit, because like it is a reference, like it is going all the way back to the first Iron Man, when it was how did you fix the icing issue, right? Like that whole thing from the first one. And Tony is, if anything, a pendulum swinger. He acts in one way, and then he finds out, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But then instead of coming back to the middle, he course corrects by going all the way over to the other side of what should be done. And so now he's like, I have to put everything possible into this suit to protect this kid from anything that's going to happen. And what's another reason why, that reinforces that to him? Well, he gave Rhodey the War Machine suit, and in Civil War, Rhodey gets shot down out of the sky. So, like, we are going to see a suit at the end of this movie, and there's a reason why there's things that are in that suit as well. But Peter wakes up he's like, all right, AI lady, we're gonna have to fight our way out of here. And he like breaks through the door and he's like, where the fuck am I? What's going on? And she's like, don't be worried. You're in the most secure place of the Eastern Seaboard, the deep vault of the Department of Damage Control. He's like, I don't want to be here. How do I get out? And she's like, well, those doors are locked, so they're not going to open until the morning. He's like, all right, well, maybe we should figure out what this suit could do. And so they have a little like mini montage of him testing out different things with the suit. And he's like, I can't just keep calling you AI lady. Like, I got to come up with a name for you. So he names the AI Karen. Originally, he was going to name it Liz. He's like, no, I can't do that. That's a little weird. Then he starts, but then sure enough, he starts talking to Karen about Liz, and it's just like hilarious. Where Jennifer Connelly is like, the character is just like, well, you should tell her how you feel. Like, God, like you can't just ignore these feelings. Like, you have to. This isn't healthy for you, and she should know. She should know how you. Maybe she. But he's like, but what if she doesn't feel about Peter the way she feels about Spider-Man? She's like, well, Liz seems so nice from what you're telling her about me, or what you're telling me about her. So I'm sure she's gonna be able to. And then eventually he's like, all right, well, listen. It must have been like 4 or 5 hours since we've been here. He's like, how long time has passed? And she's like, 37 minutes. He's like, 37 minutes? So he's like, all right, we got to figure out how to break out of here. And what I liked about it was it really, this moment here kind of shows the full application of Peter's genius and how smart he is and his ability to get around and solve different problems. Unfortunately, he really needs to solve this problem because he also finds out from Karen that the purple glowy thing is actually a Chitauri core that can be detonated. It can be a bomb if it gets charged through radiation. So now he really has to escape the DODC deep vault. While he's doing that, the decathlon is taking place. Ned is leaving for the decathlon, and Ned doesn't know what to do with the purple glowy thing. So he puts it in his pocket because why wouldn't you? Like, other people might have left it in a closet in the hotel room.
Would have left it in the room.
Like,
I don't know.
Somebody else might have done that.
Maybe you don't want the housekeeper to see it.
That's fair. That's fair. But Ned's like, what if we just put it in my pocket? Because nobody's going to see it glowing from my pocket. No, nobody would. Peter is able to get out of the DODC deep vault, but not only is he missing the decathlon, he can't even get in touch with them because there's a little voiceover as the decathlon is starting. Make sure all of your phones are turned off. And he's trying to call multiple people. There's no way for him to get there, but he's like, we got to get from wherever the heck we are, suit lady, all the way to the decathlon. The team wins the decathlon off of
Thanks to Zendaya's character.
Off of the back of this character that Zendaya's playing, who we still don't know the name of, to your point, Sid. And they win the
first, like, what speaking line is at the scene? And she answers a question. You're like, oh wow, she can talk.
She's barely said anything. And so they decide that as a class trip, as a reward for winning the decathlon, they're going to go to the Washington Monument. MJ, who had been really eager to get on the road from New York to DC because she wanted to get a little light protesting done in front of an embassy, is like, I'm not going to go into the Washington Monument. She's like, I don't want to celebrate something built by slaves. And the teacher's like, I don't think it was, And then he turns to the security guard. The security guard's like, yeah. And so he just turns around. He's like, well, all right. It's not, you don't gotta go. You don't gotta go if you don't want to. So while they're going through security at the Washington Monument, they got to go through an x-ray machine. Peter is able to finally get in touch with them, but Ned, before he can really like get the information from Peter that he should not let this go through an x-ray machine or any kind of radiation, his phone is taken from him by Liz, who was like, Pete, where were you? Like, what's going on? Like, this is so abnormal. What's going on about you? And the core goes through the x-ray machine and it gets charged. Pete shows up as it detonates in the Washington Monument, cracking the monument. And MJ, or Zendaya's character, is like sitting there on the bench. She's like, oh shit, my friends are up there. And Pete's like,
I remember earlier in the movie she had said she doesn't have friends.
She says that to him, and Spider-Man goes, "Don't worry, ma'am. I'm gonna make sure that it's gonna be okay." And so he's like running up. He's like trying to get up there, and they have a funny quick cuts back and forth between the kids in the elevator with one of the monument attendants or we guess museum attendants who is just saying, "Listen, all the security systems are in place. We are going to be okay." And then it cuts to Peter, and Karen goes, "They are all going to die." And then it cuts back, and the person's like, the police are on their way. Everything's going to be fine. Cuts back. It's like, the police are not going to make it in time. And Peter's like, I am trying so hard. So he gets up there. Meanwhile, Capitol Police have shown up in the choppers, and they're like, "We don't know who you are," because I guess they don't watch the news, or there's no real mention.
See YouTube.
It's like, yeah, it's like, I guess, what was it? 50, when 50 says to Jadakiss, it's like, yeah, they like your vocals, but it's in New York. You're local. So I guess about Spider-Man outside of the 5 boroughs. So they're like, yo, you better get off the monument, because they think he's causing this. And Pete's like, they're gonna die if I don't do something. And it's a great scene where he has been trying to break in the glass, but Karen says, you need more momentum, you need more torque. So he jumps, he goes backwards off of the monument, uses the helicopter to be able to slingshot him in. He's able to save the day. And in the process, he's also testing out a deeper New York accent, which I thought was
like, hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on around here?
What's going on around here?
Like, hey, I thought this was the elevator to LaGuardia. Like, what's going on? So, what were you guys' thoughts on Spider-Man escaping the DODC and this whole charged scene where we really get a nice shot or a nice glimpse of Spider-Man being able to save the day? Sid, we'll start with you.
As far as like an action sequence or set piece sequence in the movie, this is the best thing in the movie. This is better than the final sequence fight scene and everything. This is seeing Peter being courageous, being resourceful, being smart at the same time. And it was so great to see like him propelling himself, slingshotting himself into the window to make the save. His whole interaction with MJ was very funny, and the deep voice, so you don't know it's me. And I was like, why you don't do that with everybody else? Everybody else that's heard both of your voices, where it's just the same. It's the same as Peter. That is the same as Spider-Man. But hey, to each his own. No wonder people find out in the next movie. Yes. This was really, really good, and the tension of the elevator scene was really well done. And you kind of like, oh, is he gonna make it in time? Is he gonna make it in time? And splitting between the elevator and Spider-Man trying to get into the monument was really well done.
Chase, what were your thoughts on this?
I felt him breaking out, that was like a little bit too long for my liking. This is where like the run timer, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's 2 hours now. These movies, like Tobey's movies, he would have been out or something like that. Like, why do I have to hear about how much he likes Liz and all this stuff? Tony Stark, you made this suit, but Peter, you're talking to this AI. You don't think, hey, maybe give me a voice modulator? You should have this in this suit. You have all these other things in this suit. Why don't you have a voice modulator? So I understand why he changed his voice. It's for comedic effect. But yeah, like Sid said, one of the best set pieces of this whole movie is this White House monument scene. Love it. Absolutely love it. And like you mentioned, the cutting back and forth is just so fucking hilarious. Like it's so great how it's like, we're gonna be all right. No, we're not. They're going to die. It's like, it's perfect. It's good MCU humor, not like the forced MCU humor that you normally get. It's good MCU humor showing that, because like really, to be honest, like besides the fight scenes in Civil War, we don't really know how much Peter is good at being Spider-Man. So this was like a good, like, oh yeah, he can do all this stuff, because Spider-Man's more than just punching and kicking. He's like very athletic and everything. So you could see that in this scene right here of how athletic he is and saving his friend. So I really like this scene a lot. Very strong.
Yeah, this is it's one of like the big pieces of the movie, and it really does set up and show how much this version of Peter Parker really wants to do well and really wants to help people, especially when they're his friends. And so we were able to get them home. And meanwhile, Adrian Toombs has been trying to figure out like who this spider person is. And they go, hey man, like look on the news. And he turns and he watches as there's a news report of Spider-Man saving everybody from this Washington Monument attack or detonation. And they point out in this news report that it was Midtown Magnet High School decathlon class. Now, there's a little bit of a weird look on Adrian Toombs' face, and and at the time you're like, oh wow, like he's like Spider-Man. I'm gonna get this Spider-Man guy. So Toombs also at this time finds out that they need new material. They are running low on things that they can reverse engineer and turn into new illegal weapons. They're exhausting their supply, but the point was that they were gonna get more through that original attack on or heist of the DODC trucks. Well, Spider-Man kind of foiled that, so now they need to figure out what they're going to do next. There's a mention of a Gargan deal that's going to go down, and like they say we have enough for that, but beyond that, like it's going to be slim pickings. Again, there's this mention of the high altitude seal. Pete gets back to school, and Pete's like, "Listen, I'm going to figure out where these guys are. I'm gonna figure out like what's going on with these weapons because this is dangerous. This is very dangerous." And there's a sort of a humorous scene where he's talking to Ned, and Ned's like, "But we got to get to class. We have a Spanish quiz." And Pete's like, hand on the shoulder. He's like, "Ned, after today, I may never be here again." Like
Mr. Stark is moving Avengers Towers upstate.
He's like,
I'm not gonna be here.
He's like, I'm gonna be going on to bigger and better things, you know. Like he's like putting on the robe and all. Like I'm not gonna be here with you peasants. Like what are we talking about?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be a world famous Avenger.
He's like, what are we talking about? And he turns to leave, and the principal's standing there like, Mr. Parker, let's have a conversation. And then we get another great cameo by Captain America Chris Evans where he's just pulling up a chair and he's like, so you did something wrong and you got detention. And it's just like, I want to know like how many of these videos exist. Like, do they have a Captain America video for like every single situation? Like what exactly is going on?
They should.
Yeah, the minute he got defrosted, they're like, hey Cap, gotta make up for lost time. You gotta film all these videos.
So you got detention. But Zendaya's character is there, and we find out that she doesn't have detention. She's just there to
she likes to draw people in crisis.
In crisis. She just likes to breathe in
she's like, this is you. I was like, that's one of the best laughs of the movie for me.
And Pete's just like, fuck you, lady. So Pete is trying to figure out how to get more information. He needs more clues. He needs more evidence. And Karen goes, well, we could run facial recognition. And he's like, facial recognition? We can do that? She's like, yeah, I record everything you see. And he's like, everything? And there's like a couple funny things where we see that Pete, really didn't understand everything the suit could do. But after running facial recognition, we do not have information on the two guys who were involved on that deal out on Long Island. But there is facial recognition on the third guy, played by Donald Glover. And the name is Aaron Davis. Now, for all those big Spider-Man fans, they know that name. That is the name of the Prowler. But more importantly, it is the name of the uncle of one Miles Morales, a.k.a. another Spider-Man. But with the ability to track Aaron Davis, Pete's going to show up. And Karen goes, would you like to turn on enhanced interrogation mode? And Pete's like, what are all these things we could do? I didn't know about any of this. So he shows up again with this, hey, you gotta tell me where the people are. And Aaron Davis is just like, what the like you don't know what you're doing. Like you're not good at this at all.
He was like, I heard your voice. You a girl.
He's like, I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. I mean, a man. I'm a man. It's just a funny back and forth. And Peter eventually is able to get Aaron Davis to give him some information because Aaron Davis said, that night you said, if you're going to shoot at somebody, shoot at me. And that meant a lot to Aaron Davis, not just because it was his own life that was on the line, but also the idea that Spider-Man is trying to help the neighborhood. And then we get a little line from Aaron Davis. He goes, I got a nephew. And obviously that's a reference to Miles Morales. And even more interesting is that they cast for Prowler the guy who for many years was linked to the role of Miles Morales. If they ever did a live action, a lot of people had fan casted Donald Glover, really wanted him in the role. But what did you guys, because the next scene is kind of a big one, we'll do a little cut here. What were your thoughts on Toombs finding out that, hey, we gotta do something desperate. We're getting a little bit desperate. There's also this Gargan deal. Pete gets detention, and we meet Aaron Davis officially. Chase, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I like that Vulture because, like, for a moment, it feels like Vulture's a little overpowered. Like, this guy has his suit, he seems to have everything under control, but it turns out not everything's sunny in paradise for the villain. So he has to maybe speed run some ideas that he had instead of, like, just steady paces going on. So we're getting some tension from the villain that may cause him to make some mistakes for our hero to capitalize on. Pete getting the tension, that's totally fine. The MJ scene is great. Or the Zendaya scene, because we don't know her name yet at this point in time. But it was great. Her just being in detention for no reason, and she just draws the picture, was awesome. And then the Donald Glover scene, the Prowler. Like, once I heard his name was Aaron Davis, I was like, oh man, the Prowler, one of my favorite villains and stuff. And like the tease of, everyone wants Miles Morales now on the big screen. Miles is like people need to understand, Miles Morales was not popular when he first came out. Everyone hated because Miles comes from the Ultimate Universe, and the Ultimate Universe, they kill Spider-Man. They kill him. And Miles Morales takes over, and everyone's like, what the? Oh my God, no, this is the worst thing ever. Like, acting like it's the end of the world. He was hated for the longest time. Spider-Verse and a bunch of other media has helped, rehabilitate, make Miles Morales into the big star that he is. So this gets people excited. Oh, this makes me happy because it's like, oh, cool. So this Spider-Man is more like Ultimate Spider-Man. That's cool with me. I'm fine with that. If they want to go the Ultimate route, totally fine with that and stuff. But him, interacting with Aaron Davis and, pretty much trying to get information, I like it. This movie is going by so smoothly right now. It's such a smooth experience. Nothing's like just one dragged out scene, him in the White Room or the vault. That was the only scene where I was like, all right, get to the point. But everything else, smooth sailing so far.
Yeah, to your point, like when I was rewatching it and I realized, oh yeah, we're gonna get stuck in the vault. I was like, I know what's gonna happen. I could fast forward through this, but then I was like, no, I want to see him. I want to see the reaction again when she tells him it's 37 minutes and he loses his mind.
Yeah, no, but, you know how smooth sailing is? It's been almost an hour we talked about this, and I don't feel like we've been here for an hour. I'm being dead serious when I say this. Like, I'm like, wait. I looked at the recording time. I'm like, why has it been an hour? I swear we just started.
But Sid, what were your thoughts? Because if time feels like it's flying for us, it did not feel like it was flying for Pete in detention.
Well, that you gotta do the time if you do the crime. But yeah, he left out of there and he got himself to an interrogation mode, and I think that we didn't get enough of that in either of the previous Spider-Man live action editions of the more of the detective side of Spider-Man, because that's one side that I think that not always gets the focus, but that's a side that I enjoy, and I like to see him kind of go into interrogation mode, just not with that voice. Never do that again. And I thought that Donald Glover was really good here, and this started a run of great like TV and movie roles for him. So it's great that he was able to be part of this whole thing. So yeah, this movie is going along swimmingly at this point.
Well, Interesting that you bring up the term swimmingly, because our next big set piece is set on the water. It's the Staten Island Ferry. This is the Gargan deal, or the Gargan deal that was alluded to earlier. Pete is showing up. He's there. He's trying to sneak on and see what's going on. He's got his little drones doing stuff, giving him information. We meet Mac Gargan, who interestingly has a scorpion tattoo on the side of his neck. Interesting. Mac is there to purchase weapons from Toombs' crew, and Peter is like, all right, we're going to take these guys down. We're going to prove to Mr. Stark we can do this. It's going to be awesome. And then Tony calls him. Tony's like, hey, what's going on? Now, what I thought was funny was that earlier in this scene, May is calling him, and he's able to cancel that. He's able to get the suit to cancel that. Tony calls him, and Karen's like, but this is the boss. We're putting him on. So he's there. He's trying to explain to Tony, like, you know, kind of like he's still in school. He's at school. And Tony's like, are you? Like, you're at school? Like, the tracker is a little weird. It's like, and then all of a sudden the foghorn from the ferry goes off. And he's like, what is that? And Pete goes, oh, that was a tuba. I'm at band practice. And Tony goes, but Happy told me that you quit band, which again,
6 weeks ago,
we're getting information that Pete is telling things to Happy. Happy is telling them to Tony, even if Happy is not replying back to Peter. There's a lot of miscommunication in this movie between these three guys. But Tony knows what's going on, or Tony knows the things that are happening in Peter's life. Also, I think it's hilarious or just interesting. Like, Pete quit band practice. He quit like something else. Then he was quitting how many different things was this guy involved in? Like, it's
robotics.
Yeah. Like, how many different things was he involved in at school? Anyway, Peter goes, I'm gonna have to talk to you a little bit later, Mr. Stark. Bye. And he hangs. And Tony's like, "Well, don't you dare hang up." Peter's like, time to swing into action. Time to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And he shows up to try to stop this deal that's going on. And lo and behold, who also shows up? The Federal Bureau of Investigations. Because if there's one thing that Tony Stark can do, it's call anybody in any high office in any part of the United States government at the drop of a hat, because he's Tony Stark. The FBI get involved. Vulture, who Adrian Toombs has been on the boat, but in his regular clothes, he gets into the Vulture suit. There's a fight between Peter and Vulture, and Vulture's like, well, listen, you want to cause problems for me? This is how I'm going to get this guy. He basically cuts this ferry in half with one of the weapons that they were potentially going to sell.
Well, Pete tries to web it,
right?
It just goes crazy, and then it goes haywire and cuts the boat.
And the ferry is cut in half. We alluded to this scene when we were doing our review of Spider-Man 2, because this is an attempt to recreate the feeling of the subway train scene from Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock. And we get Peter doing everything he possibly can. We get some good images of Peter and his intelligence. The idea of, okay, we're going to have to use multiple webs, multiple points. We've got to try to, like, what's the physics and the geometry behind this? And we get a scene of him trying to hold the two sides of the ferry together. Doesn't look like it's going to work out too well for Mr. Parker. However, Iron Man suits start showing up. And it's like, wait a minute. How did Tony know what was going on? And lo and behold, Iron Man shows up, and the crowd goes wild. That's the only way to explain. The ferry's like, oh shit, we're saved. And Iron Man saves the day by bringing the two pieces back together, welding them back so that at least for a temporary amount of time, the ferry will hold together. We can evacuate these people. And it leads to one of the best conversations, bits of dialogue in this movie, where Peter is attempting to tell Tony, I was telling you about this over and over and over again. And then he goes, and Iron Man's like, this is where the adults are talking right now. He's like, if you cared, you'd be here, but you're not. And then the suit opens up, and for a couple of those 15 minutes, Robert Downey Jr. is on our screen because he is there live and in living color. And he's like, who do you think called the FBI? And Peter's like, didn't think of that. Like, you got me. He's like, listen, you got me. Like, when you got me, you got me. And they're arguing back and forth. And Tony is saying to him, listen, if people had died in this incident, that would be on you. And if you died, I feel like that would be on me. And one of the things Peter's saying is like, I was just trying to be like you. And Tony says back to him, I wanted you to be better. And that kind of is one of the interesting dynamics between this mentor-mentee relationship, is that in a way, Tony was trying to see whether or not Peter could be the successor to what Iron Man has symbolized over the course of this time period of the MCU. And Tony, unfortunately, in his mind, is like, I don't know if the kid can hack it. And so he goes, listen, I'm going to need the suit back. And Pete's like, what do you mean? I can't give you the suit back. It's like, I need the suit. It's like, you don't need the suit. Like, you shouldn't need the suit. And Peter goes, without this, I'm nothing without the suit. And Tony says to him, if you're nothing without the suit, you don't deserve it. And that is a good reference to Iron Man 3, which a lot of people, back in the day were like, why is Tony out of the suit for so much of this movie? But it was a lesson that was part of that movie that is important here and is being referenced. It's that you cannot be reliant upon the suit the same way that Tony was reliant for a good amount of time. Even though he could have solved the problem, he was reliant on the arc reactor. He was like, he was just at that level of comfort. He had to learn to grow beyond it. And that's what he's trying to teach Peter here. He takes the suit back. Peter says to him, I don't have any clothes. And Tony's like,
no,
that's the least of our problems. Yeah. That's the least of our problems right now. Peter gets home and finds out that May has been trying to call him, trying to reach out. She is super worried. She is losing her mind over what's going on with Pete. And that's when Pete tells her he has lost the Stark internship, and he breaks down, and she is there to console him. So this has been one of the most action-packed parts of the movie thus far. And it has also one of the most interesting emotional beats between the conversation between Tony and Peter. A lot to talk about. What were your thoughts, Sid?
It's very well done. It's a great set piece with the Staten Island Ferry kind of taking another New York staple and using it to kind of show Spider-Man's willingness to kind of put things back together and keep people safe at the same time. So I like the fact that they went this route and did something a little bit different from Spider-Man 2 while still making reference to it. Iron Man coming in and saving the day, that makes a whole lot of sense because it's way too early for in this film, and especially with our time being spent with this Spider-Man, to give him that type of moment like the Tobey Spider-Man had in Spider-Man 2. It was too early in this movie, so you kind of had to have him come up a little bit short and need the help of Iron Man. And then the whole conversation is really kind of like the moment that shifts us into like the third act of the movie, and him having to prove himself and prove that he is worthy of the suit. That becomes the new kind of mission. We've seen him kind of be Spider-Man, trying to still be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man without, the Avengers getting back to him, without those big missions that he's looking for. Then we got him trying to prove himself as Spider-Man, as the Vulture became kind of his antagonist and trying to stop him. And now we have the third act, which is him trying to prove himself and show and validate the fact that he doesn't really need the suit to still be Spider-Man. So I like how all that stuff was very set up, and like we've been saying throughout this whole review, it got there in a very brisk pace, but the dialogue and the performance by RDJ and Tom Holland in that scene so pristine. Two guys that are pros that just perform that so well. The emotion in Tom Holland's eyes say it all. It says like he just let down his hero. He let down the person that he admires the most, and he doesn't know how he can get that pride in that same relationship, that same bond that he thought he had with Tony back. So that becomes his new mission.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point because, like, I know it annoyed Chase the first time I brought it up a while ago, but, like, that retcon of that was Peter Parker in Iron Man 2. Like, that
still
kid.
annoys me. It's not, you're not going to change my mind on it.
But, Chase, what were your thoughts on all of this?
I really liked it because once Tony called and they answered, I was all like, oh, man, Spider-Man's going to fuck. Like, even when I first watched this, I'm like, oh, he's going to mess this up because he does not know that Tony Stark has this planned. And of course, he messes up, goes 0-3 against the Vulture. What a loser this Spider-Man is. 0-3 against the Vulture. Could it be Tobey? That's what I was saying at the time. I was like,
he was cooking. He was cooking Tom Holland.
I was like, Tobey going to go 0-3. I know that. Like my hater hat was on during this moment. But no, this is a really, really good scene. The call back to Spider-Man 2, and then just Iron Man just grandiose upstaging him like, hey, this is what a real Avenger looks like, kiddo. You're not there yet. You're not Iron Man. But just like what Tony Stark does here, like, because like Tony Stark, the one thing that you should know from watching all the Iron Man movies and the Avengers, he cares. Does his care get too overly deep? Yes. But Peter Parker just doesn't understand this. Peter Parker, like, the problem was they gave Spider-Man a way important mission way too soon. And he thought that was going to be everything every single time. And it's like, no, like the reason why Tony Stark looked out for you was because he noticed what you were doing in the neighborhood. He just wanted you to stay at your level, and you ruined a big plan that he was planning. This is why he has the chip inside the suit. This is why he called you. This is something where it's like, hey, genius, you should have realized, oh shit, Mr. Stark has this handled. Let Mr. Stark handle this. But the way Tony just beats down Peter Parker here is just so great. And when he comes out in the suit, that's like one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie, where he's like, you're not even in there. And then he goes, oh yeah, huh? Yeah. I'm not in here. Yeah. And he starts just beating him down. And it was so good because he sees so much of himself in Peter Parker, what he has done. Because in the first Iron Man, when he was in the jail and he created the first ever prototype Iron Man suit, seeing Peter do all this stuff with his junk that he's finding, he admires that in Peter Parker. That's what he likes. He doesn't like Peter Parker trying to go above and beyond. He doesn't need that from you right now. What he needs from you is to show that you can handle the job you're given. And he failed that test. That made Tony not trust in him, and so he had to take away the suit. And I like how it sets up where he doesn't have this overpowered suit anymore. Now it's time to see, what can this kid do as Spider-Man without this super fancy Stark suit that has insta-kill mode, AI robot, and all that other stuff. What can he do without this very powerful suit? But yeah, that'll be my first time watching. I was hate watching. I was just like, man, Tobey went on 0-3 against the Vulture. Like, what are we doing?
He went 0-3 against Doc Ock. What are you talking about?
He went 1-2. All right. Did Doc Ock live at the end of the movie? No. Doc Ock live. Did
Doc Ock live?
Dr. Stoppage W for Tobey Maguire there. 1-2.
Did he live?
1-2 for Tobes. Tobey goes 1-2 every movie. Every movie, it's 1-2 for Tobey. That's it. He loses 2 fights and then he wins the last one. That's all that matters.
On his John Cena booking.
Pretty much.
on his Chris Jericho booking. I'll drop 2 matches, but I win the last one.
Yeah, that's literally like any like big pro boxer. They're like, yeah, I lost the first 2 fights, but I won the 3rd one. That's all that matters. I don't have to fight this guy ever again.
Yep.
Well, we get a montage of Pete in school because now he's able to focus on school because he doesn't have to worry about Stark internship anymore. And he's doing a lot better in school, a lot more present in his classes.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
And we get a scene where he is walking through the halls on his way to the bathroom, and he runs into Liz, who is continuing to do homecoming prep. and he has a moment where he says, "You know what? Let's just do this." And he asks Liz to the homecoming dance, and surprise, surprise, she says yes. She was interested this whole time. And so we have a bit where he's trying to figure out how to tie a tie. Like there's a montage, a little mini montage with him and Aunt May going over like dancing and how to tie the tie and what suit he should wear, all that kind of fun stuff. He gets to Liz's house. Aunt May drops him off.
Best part of the movie.
Oh, so good.
He knocks on the door. The door opens, and it's Adrian fucking Toombs.
I didn't see this coming at all.
I did not see this coming whatsoever. I still remember to this day being in the movie theater, and he opens that door, and I'm like, holy shit.
Because I did not see this at all. I was literally like, because when they show the scene where he's looking at the theme, like you mentioned, I just thought he was pissed. He was pissed that Spider-Man was involved. Like he was just like, oh, fucking Spider. I didn't put any connection that, oh, maybe his daughter was on the trip. Like I just looked at it as like, oh, he's just pissed at Spider-Man, like every other Spider-Man. But when he opens that door and you realize Liz, who by the way does not have the same skin complexion of Adrian,
that was how they were able to hide it.
The daughter, you're just like, holy shit! One of the better Marvel twists, like, and they were cooking with the twists at this time. They were Mel Gibson was like, come, I can't do what Marvel does right now. I used to be the king of twists, and now I can't figure this shit out. But Marvel, they're doing it all the time now. The twist in Black Panther when we thought Andy Serkis was the main villain, and then Michael B. Jordan's like, nah, I'm the main villain. I'm Killmonger. The twist in Civil War, the twist in Winter Soldier, like everyone was Hydra. Like, what? The Civil War. It turns out that Bucky kills the what? They were cooking with the twist at this time. Like this was like, oh, you were talking about peak Marvel villains, peak Marvel twists at this time. Every movie you're just waiting for the Marvel twist, and it was just so good.
I think one of the things that makes this scene and the next part that follows in the Toombs house is how well Tom Holland just does the oh shit face. Like, oh fuck. And so we also get introduced to Liz's mom, played by Garcelle Bouvet from the Jamie Foxx show. Fancy from the Jamie Foxx show. What's she doing here? So the entire time, Peter Parker is just like so awkward. He does not know what to do. He's like, what am I? And so they're like, oh, why don't we, Liz's dad can drive you guys to the dance. And he's like, that's okay. We'll figure something out. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Ride on the handlebars or some shit? He's like, no, I'll drive you. It's okay. And they say it works out because I got somewhere to be out of town later after this. And immediately in his brain, he's like, oh no, something's happening. Shit. And it's a great callback to earlier in the movie where he had the opportunity to hang out with Liz and he had to decide between Liz and Spider-Man stuff. But if the reveal of Adrian Toombs is Liz's dad is one of the most phenomenal things that this movie can do, it's arguably only topped by the scene where Adrian Toombs, the Vulture, is driving
amazing
to the dance.
Amazing.
Because Liz is just conversing while she's on her phone and doesn't realize some of the things that she is saying. Peter, meanwhile, is freaking the fuck out, and the Vulture is going, huh, interesting. You were at the decathlon, but not at the monument.
Not in the elevator. Oh, but my tummy was sick. I was sick.
But Spider-Man was there.
And you're always disappearing too, Peter. You're always not around. Like, it's weird.
It's a good
worried
thing
about you.
It's a good thing your pal Spider-Man showed up.
Looking through the fucking driver's mirror.
The rear view mirror. Oh my god! And what's so great about it is the moment when it fully hits. They were parked. They were at a stoplight, and the light changes, and it's green, and it's just like, oh shit! Like the lights switching on in his head.
Yeah.
They get to the dance, and Liz is he goes, listen, let me have the old father conversation with the guy. And Liz, again, completely oblivious because she doesn't know anything about anything in this situation. She leaves. She's just like, all right, cool. He's going, be nice, but like, and Vulture has like one of the most interesting moral compasses ever because he's just like, yo, you have been a thorn in my side. And by all rights, I should just shoot you right now. However, you did save my daughter's life. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to go to this party and show my daughter a good time. Not too good. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I was going to do after I dropped you guys off. And you are never going to bother me again. Otherwise, I will kill everybody you love.
I'm fine. Kill you and everybody you love.
And Pete's like, okay. And then Vulture's like, what do we say to somebody who has just saved your life?
Saved your life.
He's like, thank you, sir. Oh, shit.
So I was like, that was so gangster.
What did you guys think about the reveal? I mean, we already kind of covered the reveal of Tubes being the dad, but like just this car driving scene. Chase, lead us off.
Amazing. I do not understand how this was not nominated for like best scene or something. I don't care if superhero movies get poo-pooed. This was just so much great tension. This is what I knew. I was like, all right, Tom Holland can act. Like, I was like, yeah, this kid can act. Like, I was just like you're in a scene with Michael Keaton. We already know this fool can act. Like, he's great, Michael Keaton. But just the way he plays off with Michael Keaton, I'm just like, oh my. Even to this day, whenever I rewatch this movie, it's the one scene I look forward to because I'm like, does it feel the same? Maybe it's just nostalgia every single time. Home run. You're just like, you still feel that feeling, that awkward tension. Like you said, the green light. Oh my goodness, genius shit. Oh my, I love this scene. I absolutely adore this scene so much. 10 out of 10 scene. And stuff. And when he says, what do you say to someone who just saved your life? And he goes, I'm like, who wrote this? This genius. This genius. Oh my good, so good. I love it because now it's like you put Peter in a real situation because now one of his biggest fears has just been unlocked. Someone knowing he's Spider-Man, and not just someone knowing he's Spider-Man, an enemy knowing that he's Spider-Man. That makes it even worse. So very, very good stuff. Absolutely love it. One of the best scenes of this whole movie. I feel like you can show this scene to anyone that's not like a Spider-Man fan, and they will find a way to be like, yo, what movie is this from? Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh shit, okay. And then they'll check it out because that's how good this scene is. Like, non-superhero fan, any fan, they will feel the tension from the scene. Michael Keaton fucking kills it.
To your point about this was the moment where you realized Tom Holland could really pull this off. Like to continue my analogy.
I still have my hate boner for him, by the way. I was just like, if Tobey was in the scene, it'd been a little bit more.
It wouldn't have been that good.
But to continue my analogy, this is when Dame Dash heard Through the Wire and Jesus Walks for the first time. But Sid, what did you think about the
God, get me away because the shadow hold me down. Jesus walks with me.
This is the best 15 minutes of the whole movie. Like just the moment Peter knocks on that door to him going inside the school to him making his decision to even what we're about to talk about now with like everything else that leads into our final kind of minutes of the movie. This is just peak cinema. This is just really good. Everything since the conversation with RDJ, it's been firing on all cylinders, and you're really seeing Tom Holland shine, showing that uneasiness, that uncomfortableness, being in the car, getting questioned, realizing that his secret is being unveiled, realizing that his mask is coming off before everybody's eyes, and Liz being so oblivious. I thought she did a great job in
Mm-hmm.
this scene where she's just so oblivious, but she is literally giving her dad all the answers that he needs. And then Michael Keaton, who it was in my eyes still one of the best comic book superheroes that I've seen on film, as the original Batman from the late 80s into the 90s. He is such a great villain. He is so good. His eyes tell a story. Just when he turns around and says,
Yeah.
buddy, oh, Spider-Man. I was like, he's so over the top. It just works.
Oh, when they show his reflection in the eyes in the mirror, it's just like he's telling the story. You're just like, oh shit, dude. He's like, oh really? So you weren't at the monument? What? And it's like, oh shit.
But Pete is forced to make that choice. And just like the first time, Spider-Man wins over wanting to spend time with Liz. But he ain't got no suit. However, he does have a suit in the school. So he goes to get that old suit. And in the process, as he's trying to leave, out of nowhere, shocker, one of Adrian Toomes' crew has been using the electric gauntlet after the first Shocker was killed by Toomes, shows up and goes, he knew you were gonna do this. He knew. And Pete's like, oh, why does it hurt so much? And he's like, you don't have the suit anymore. Now you fighting in like a hoodie and sweatpants. Like that's basically what that suit is. It's the hoodie suit. So they do again the gag of like somebody in mortal danger about to get their ass handed to them, and out of nowhere off camera somebody shows up randomly, but this time it's Ned who has grabbed one of the web shooters and helps Peter to deal with Shocker. And that's when Peter anoints Ned as the man in the chair. And he goes, I need your help. I need you to help me figure out all this stuff. I need you to track this. And he's like, well, how am I going to track it? He's like, track my phone. Your phone? Where's your phone? And we see the phone in Vulture's car. So even then, even though the movie goes through the process of having us see Peter conflicted and seeing Liz in the dance, and he has to make that decision, we know what he was going to do anyway. He was always
he made the decision before he even got out the car.
And that's just who Peter Parker is. He steals Flash's car and phone in the process, and he's like, Flash, I need your car. And Flash is like, but sir, this is not my car. This is actually my dad's car.
And before he can even continue and finish that sentence, he's already in the car driving away.
And so he has Ned tracking the phone, and he's trying to call. And he says, Ned, I also need you to call Happy and let him know, because something is going down. We don't know exactly what it is. Ned tries to call Happy. He finally gets through, and Happy's like, bro, I don't even want to talk to Parker. Why would I want to talk to Parker's friend? That doesn't make any sense to me. He goes, besides, it's moving day. And that's when the whole picture is revealed. Why does Toomes need a high altitude seal? It's because he is going to rob the plane, the Avengers plane that is going to take everything from Stark Tower up to the upstate facility. Now, the problem is, if he's able to get access to everything that's on that plane, they are going to be set for life. And who knows the amount of things that they're going to be able to build and make and sell with all the technology that they're going to get. This could be devastating for a lot of people. It could really hurt a lot of people. And Peter realizes what's going on. They figure out, oh shit, we got to do this. But in order to fully remove Ned from the situation and keep the focus on Peter and Vulture, they have somebody show up at the computer lab to get eyes on Ned. And Ned, quick thinker that he is, says that he was watching porn, which was hilarious. He's just like, I was watching porn. That's why I wasn't at the dance. Meanwhile, Peter gets to the warehouse where Toomes is by tracking the phone. And we have the conversation, the final kind of last-ditch effort by Peter to be like, hey, you really don't need to do this. And Vulture's like, hey, I really do. And they have a fun speech about like what it means to be the little guy and what it means to look out for people. And Vulture really does believe that what he's doing is right, in the sense of it's him taking care of his family and him doing the things that he needs to do because the powers that be have done this to him. And in an interesting way, it sort of sets up a somewhat kind of theme between this movie and the next movie, that the villains are kind of more mad at Tony Stark than they are at Peter, and Peter sort of happens to be in the way. However, all due credit to Peter, he is annoying enough that Toombs is like, now I just want to fuck you up. And Pete's like, you know, what do you like? Why are you trying to have this conversation if you believe you're not going to change your mind? He's like, I was stalling you. And the Vulture suit comes through and is taking out different pillars. And Pete's like, you missed. And he's like, I wasn't really trying to hit you. And so he gets the last pillar. The building comes crashing down on Peter. Vulture gets into the suit and he bounces. And this is my favorite scene of the movie.
Best acting by Tom Holland in the whole.
No, this is a great scene too. This is my crane sequence from Amazing Spider-Man 1. Peter has to.
This
is way better than the crane.
Oh, it's way better. No, don't get me wrong. Yes. But like what I'm saying
is not forced.
What I'm saying is similarly to when you
the power that Spider-Man has. It's not because
similarly
they
to
just want
to
have a stupid way for him to swing to point A to point B.
But similarly to when you watch those scenes and you were like, "Oh, this is what John's gonna like." I hope you thought that here too, because
I said I'll be pissed if no one likes this scene. I said I'll be pissed if the two people I'm reviewing with don't like this scene, because this is one of the better scenes.
Peter,
actually, John, I felt the scene that you liked the most was when he was trapped in the thing. That's the scene that I was like, John likes this scene probably so much, where he's trapped talking to the AI.
Not at all. But Peter is forced to. He really has to grapple with the conversation that he had with Tony, and he realizes Tony was right. If you need the suit, if you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve to have the suit. And it's this idea that Peter has to find the strength within himself. And they do this beautiful shot where Peter is looking at his reflection in a puddle of water, but the Spider-Man mask is there. So half of his face is a Spider-Man mask, half of his face is his own face. And it is that duality, that sense of Peter Parker is Spider-Man, Spider-Man is Peter Parker. You have the strength within you. You just need to believe in yourself, and you just need to trust that you can do this. And he's like, come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man. And he's able to lift the building, or at least the amount of rubble that's on top of him, off, and he's able to escape. And now he's going to be chasing after Toombs. So what were your thoughts on this whole chase sequence where he's dealing with Toombs? He was fighting with Shocker earlier, and we have this speech both between him and Vulture, and then kind of his sort of like kind of monologue, or at least monologue to himself. Chase, we'll start with you.
Finally, justice for Shocker. He's in the movie not once but twice as two different people. But hey, Shocker doesn't get cut from this movie, so I'm happy for Herman Schultz, or whoever the name of the Shocker. You made a big time, buddy. I'm happy for you. Very good sequences leading up to the conversation with Adrian Toombs, and once again building off the sympathy that we got in the beginning of the movie of Adrian Toombs, because we understand why he's doing it, and at the same time you don't feel like, man, this guy's just a piece of shit to being a piece of shit. He has a reason. It's not like everything was taken away from him, and it was what he doing wrong. I mean, yes, on the world of the law, it's wrong, but in terms, I don't feel like he's harming way too many people. Like making him a villain by saying he's going to kill Peter Parker's family. That's like the most villainous thing he's did, but his actions aren't really villainous. So you kind of feel for him. And then Peter Parker, he's trying to do his best. Like, hey, let me talk you out of this. And it's like, bro, it ain't going to work. It's not going to work. And then the Vulture suit destroying everything, Peter not being smart enough to realize that was the plan, but then unlocking that Peter doesn't realize, oh shit, I have super strength. Like, I'm not just like some guy with, it didn't just boost my athleticism and stuff. I'm actually really, really strong. And I don't think Vulture thought this guy was really strong, because he's just like, oh, he's just an annoying little gnat. He just jumps around and stuff. I'm going to just crush him. That's the way I'm going to get it, where my hands aren't dirty. And, oh, he got crushed underneath all this building. Like, oh, poor kid. But no, Peter goes, he has this monologue. He hypes himself up. It's one of the more iconic comic scenes in Spider-Man. It's iconic in this movie. excellent stuff. It sets up the final fight really, really well as we get into it. But yeah, much enjoyed.
Sid, the speech between Vulture and Spider-Man, and then the scene where Spider-Man lifts the rubble off, is one of the two of the things that fans have loved throughout this movie. What did you feel about them?
Yeah, the Vulture scene really creates the Vulture as like an evil version of Robin Hood. In a way, like he has that kind of tendency of stealing from the rich to give to the poor, but yet he is even more evil because he is not only stealing, he is putting people in danger and using these high-tech weapons.
Alien weapons.
Yeah, so yeah, and then the Spider-Man scene, y'all are talking about the speech. I don't even care about the speech. The key to this whole scene is please help, like that, yo. That shit is so convincing. That is such a great performance. That is Peter Parker in a nutshell, until Peter Parker realizes that he has as much inner strength as he does the superhuman strength that he showcased here, and he had to realize he had that inner strength before he was able to kind of tap into that super strength that he has physically. So it's such a great scene. Such a great scene.
Yeah. And from there, we have Peter. He's able to get to Vulture before Vulture gets too far away. He latches on. Vulture is like, wait, what is the wing feels a little, and the guy his guy in the chair says, well, boss, that's probably just like the high altitude seal. It's just you're getting used to it. You're not that you never dealt with this before. And so that's how Peter's able to tag along with Vulture to the plane. And when they get to the plane, Vulture sets up this high altitude shield in order to break in, and we get this awesome scene where he's just like, oh, look at, like, when he opened the one bin and it was just racks of arc reactors, I was like, oh shit, if he gets this, this is not good for anybody. And we get a little humorous part where Peter's like crawling along the side of the plane, and the plane's photoreflective lenses attempting to keep it camouflage, like show him in giant form across the entire plane. But Pete is able to get on board, or he's able to start slowing down the plane. Vulture realizes what's going on. He sees that it's Peter on the computer screen, and he's like, this fucking kid. So he goes back outside, and they're having this fight. It's a great fight sequence where Peter's like, oh shit, like, this is not working well for me. This is not working well for me at all. And Vulture's just, again, it looks like it's going to be 0-4 against Vulture. And Peter is able to get the plane to crash into Coney Island on the beach. And we get to this final fight where Vulture's suit is really damaged, but he refuses to give up. He's like, I'm leaving here with something.
Peter's like, I'm trying to save you.
Yeah. And Pete's like, I would, if you want to leave with something, that's fine. I would just like you to leave with your life. I would like that to be the something that you would leave with. And there's a explosion. Vulture is knocked out, and the authorities have arrived. Happy is able to figure out what, this plane is, something's wrong. And the authorities are alerted. They show up. Toombs is arrested. And from there, we move kind of like really quickly into this denouement of Liz and her mom are moving. Adrian has wanted them to not be present for the trial, so they're booking it. They're going to be leaving, and we now need she was a senior anyway, so she was going to be graduating, but now we need a new captain for the decathlon team. And the teacher goes, how about Michelle? We're like, who the fuck is Michelle?
I was like, who's Michelle?
And then the camera cuts to Zendaya, and we're like, no, wait a minute. Her name is. They never told us her name.
I was like, oh, okay, Michelle, okay.
And then all of a sudden, Zendaya goes, my friends call me MJ. I prefer
because they say her full name. They say Michelle Jones, something. So
yeah, and she's like,
yeah, they call me MJ.
And that's the light bulb moment where it's like, I knew they
Set up
casted this
so
lady for
well.
more-
So well.
cast her
So
for
well.
more than just this. Meanwhile, Peter is called out of the decathlon club meeting, which I think is a beautiful, funny ass moment where she's like, "Where are you gone? Why are you so secretive? Why do you always disappear?" I don't give a shit. Fuck off here.
And then she has a small moment where she's looking back at him, sowing the seeds for that relationship.
Peter goes to the restroom where Happy has asked him to meet, and he goes, "Thank you for saving my bacon. Like this was wouldn't have been good for me if this had gone down the way that Toombs had wanted it to go down. I need you to come with me right now, though, to said upstate facility." And Peter, earlier in the movie, we'd had that allude, like Peter was like, once I solve this problem, like I'm not going to be here. Like you can see me later. And he shows up to the facility, and Tony's like, "Listen, I thought that really what I was doing was reverse psychology the whole time. Like it kind of like, now I understand that we could say that this did not work out the way I planned it. However, one could argue that plans, who cares about plans? Really what's important is the end result. And if you look at the end result, I'm a genius." It's classic Tony Stark.
Classic Tony Stark, yes.
All Tony did it right.
And he goes, "Listen, I got a whole bunch of reporters over there being in the next room. I would like them to be introduced to the newest member of the Avengers." And he shows him a brand new suit. And Peter is, he's getting the ability now to have everything he ever wanted. He's gotten the acceptance from Tony. He's gonna be an Avenger. He's getting not just his suit back, he's getting an upgrade on the suit. This is everything he's ever wanted. But Pete goes, "You know what? I think it's important that somebody is out there to take care of the neighborhood. Somebody is out there to be on the ground. Like we still need a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man." And Tony's like, "So you're turning me down? Like, how does this? What are we doing here? What's happening here?" And
I've never been turned down before.
it's never happened to me. And Peter's like, "Well, I'm gonna be the first. I'm gonna head out. I'll catch you guys later." And then as he's walking away, he's like, "This was a test, right?" And Tony's like, "Yeah, I know it was a test.
There's no one back there, right?
Great. You did great." Peter leaves. The door behind them opens. Pepper shows up, and she's like, "I got all these reporters here. What are we gonna tell them?" And Tony's like, "Listen, the kid made a really mature decision, and I think we should respect that." And she's like, "You two fucked this up, didn't you?" He's like, "I wouldn't say that we fucked it up. Like, realistically, he's the one that said no. Happy's the one who told him to go to the car. I did nothing." And Pepper's like, "Okay, well, what are we gonna tell them?" And Tony turns to Happy and he goes, "You still got that? You still got that ring?" And Happy's like, "Do I still got it? I've been holding on to this since 2008." and Gwyneth, for I don't know how much she was paid, but for like the 45 seconds or so, Gwyneth Paltrow nails this. Like, what? Why have you been holding on to this for 8 years? and Tony's just like, "What's wrong with you, man?" So that's how we're going to get our announcement of the engagement of Tony Stark and Pepper Potts, which I think is hilarious. Like, she was just like, "I guess I'm being proposed to." Like, that's how I can't take away from this. She was like, not only did they fuck up getting the kid, I now have to get proposed to in order to save Tony's face.
Haphazardly proposed to.
We get a closing shot of Peter leaving the Avengers facility, and Peter's just like, "You know what? I made the right decision. Like, I feel good. I feel good." He gets back to Queens. He gets back to the apartment, and lo and behold, on his bed is a little brown paper bag with a note that says, "This belongs to you, TS." He opens the bag, and it is the old or original Spider-Man suit that Tony had given him, not the newer one that he saw at the facility. Pete puts it on with a smile, and then in the doorway is Aunt May with the movie's one "What the fuck?" and it cuts to the thing. So what did you guys think about our final fight? What did you guys think about this denouement with the meeting of the mind, so to speak, between Tony, Happy, and Peter? Peter turning down the Avengers gig, and then Aunt May finding out that Peter is Spider-Man. Sid, we'll start with you.
It's just a really nice bow on what's been this kind of refreshing movie. You get the final sequence where it's really kind of, you get a little bit of fighting, but it's more about Peter being so brave and being so honorable and wanting to save the villain at the end. And at the end, he does save the villain. He picks up Toon's body out of the wreckage of the plane, and he brings him to safety before tying him up for the authorities to get him. So it shows that Peter is so honorable, so noble, and that proves like how much of a hero he really is. And then the epilogue with everything with Liz leaving, and then the confirmation of MJ, I thought that was really well done, and a nice little payoff to let us know that she's going to be a more important character as we move on with the series. And then everything with Peter turning down Tony, I think that was just a logical way to go, because that's been the whole point. He's been trying so hard to prove himself, so hard to be an Avenger, and he had to realize that he should just be happy with the fact that he is the neighborhood Spider-Man, that he has made an impression enough for the Avengers to even know of him, let alone want to invite him in. But he doesn't need that right now. He just needs to walk his own path and go on his own journey. He doesn't need to be an Avenger like everybody else. So I like that kind of realization. And then the ending with Aunt May seeing him in the suit, I thought that was just great. That was just a great little cherry on top. You let Ned know, you got the MJ reveal, and then you also say May knows as well. So you have a key important character set up of who needs to know that Peter is Spider-Man in this version of the character.
I do have I have a quibble with this movie as it relates to No Way Home, but I think we'll get into that more when we get to No Way Home, because like May finding out, and then part of what she had said earlier in the movie, it just sits wrong with me, considering what she's going to be saying and preaching in No Way Home. But Chase, how did you feel about this final fight, this ending, and Pete saying, you know what, I got the acceptance, but with the acceptance, that doesn't mean that I need all of the things that come with the acceptance. I can take what I want and go forward the way I want to.
Yeah, I like that it was an air fight. One thing we don't really get to see in these Spider-Man movies is aerial combat too much, and so I like that they were actually in the air for this one. So I like that aspect as the final fight. I know we saw a little bit of that in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 last film, but this one, much nicer air fight. But yeah, it really wasn't about the fight itself. It was more about Peter showing his bravery, like SP3 said. It was just about more great, strong character development for this version of Peter Parker that we're seeing on our screen. So that was fine. The ending sequence, Liz, the reveal of MJ was really well done, because I did not know who she was playing, because there's people even the people that get like the scoops and everything, they couldn't even figure out who Zendaya was playing too. So I was shocked. I was like, who's she playing? And then when they said MJ, I was like, okay, cool. That's their take on Mary Jane. I'm not like everyone else being like, oh my God, that's not Mary Jane at all. Like, shut up. Who cares? And stuff. But the Robert Downey Jr. scene is one of my favorites, because like he literally is like saying, I thought I was going to do reverse psychology. Didn't work. But hey, now you can be Avenger. And then Pete, it works to reverse psychology this time, except not the way RDJ wanted it to, because he wanted it where Spider-Man takes this nice, beautiful new suit and becomes a member of the Avengers. And Pete's like, no, I just want to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, even though that doesn't really matter, because in Endgame or Infinity War, he's just like, cool, I'm an Avenger now. And it's like, okay, I thought you want to just be friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. What happened there, buddy? But
he kind of got thrown into things. He just wanted to go on a field trip, and then his Spidey senses went on.
Yeah, so he says no to that. That's how we get the Pepper Potts engagement. By the way, fun fact. So originally, Avengers Tower was going to be the old Oscorp Tower from the Amazing Spider-Man universe, because Marvel was banking that they were going to have the Amazing Spider-Man and like Andrew Garfield in the universe at some point in time. Obviously, that didn't happen. So they were going to have a bunch of jabs at the Osborns during the movie, but they couldn't get it in there because that's the original Avengers Tower. So that building is like canonically, I guess, the old Oscorp Tower. So if people wonder why isn't Oscorp featured, well, Tony Stark Industries is featured. That's why. So calm down, people. It's okay.
It does, yeah. There is, it didn't come out until the Sony leaks that part of the contract is that when they make these Spider-Man solo movies, there has to be a brand name Marvel character, right, mainline MCU character involved in the movie as some form of a mentor-mentee relationship with Peter, which is like, in brand, like we see that especially in Brand New Day. There's a lot of people who have been like, why do we really need the Hulk in this movie? It's like, well, that's
contract.
That's why. Like, why is Punisher? That's why.
Why is Samuel L. Jackson in the next movie? Because it's in the fucking contract. Deal with it.
Yeah, there it is.
They have to work with what they have to work with. Like it is what it is. But no, I liked it all and stuff. Very good ending. Post credit scenes. This is like, do we talk about these in this one? Because like now we're in the post credit scene world. We're in the world of post credit scenes.
Yeah. There's the mid-credit scene where an incarcerated Gargan approaches Toomes in prison. He says he heard that Toomes knows Spider-Man's real identity, but Adrian Toomes denies it, which I don't know, like, what exactly the future of all of that will be, considering we know what it sort of was supposed to be, but that fell through.
Well,
that's Sony Spider-Man universe.
Your friendly neighborhood Venom watcher, because Adrian Toomes' character, the Vulture, somehow appears in the universe that Tom Hardy's Venom is in one of their mid-credit scenes.
It does, yeah. Well, yeah. That one also has Morbius, so we won't talk too much about it.
Well, Michael Keaton's Vulture is also in Morbius.
That's true, which is why we're not going to talk about it.
But that means Michael Keaton might get his own Vulture movie.
That I would talk about. That would be awesome. That would be interesting.
We gotta watch all the movies. Craven, Madam Web. We got it before the Vulture comes.
But I think this is a. I mean, I have a feeling where most of it we're gonna go, but it is at least nice to have a much healthier conversation about MVPs than we've had the previous two movies. So Chase, we'll start with you. Who's your MVP for this one?
Out of movie MVP, Robert Downey Jr. getting $10 million to do the bare minimum. Amazing stuff. he gets out of movie MVP. In movie MVP, I actually got to give it to Peter Parker in this one. I really liked his character in this movie. I thought we got more depth and more layers for Peter Parker, especially with the handicap of not relying on, he gets bit by a spider. Like, they couldn't rely on that. They had to, like, do a bunch of other different things. And I like it where it shows, like, his insecurity as a high schooler trying to be cool at a high school party and stuff. Him making mistakes like Peter Parker does, choosing Spider-Man duties over his real-life duties, learning what it is mean to be a hero. That's why he's my in-movie MVP. But out movie MVP, shout out to you, Robert Downey Jr. I appreciate your hustle, man.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Sid, how about you?
It's Tom Holland or Peter Parker or Spider-Man. I think that this is a performance where he knocked it out of the park. He put his name on the map, and he had big shoes to fill with Tobey as well as Andrew's roles. And I think that he filled it and even exceeded upon some of their performances.
Yeah, it's going to be a clean sweep. The only person I could possibly have given MVP to, I think, would have been Vulture, just because of how well Michael Keaton portrays the character, or portrays this version of the character. But Tom Holland, like, really does bring us just. You can tell that he really wanted this role, and we know that Andrew Garfield was a Spider-Man fan, but like Tom Holland really wanted this role and really wanted to show what he can do as Peter Parker, and he really
wanted the role in Uncharted, and he failed at that movie.
Well, that's true.
I was going to tell you, just because you want the role doesn't mean you're going to be good at it.
Hey, it's true.
These things happen. LVP. I'll start us off. Happy. I think Happy Hogan probably is the LVP of this movie. I mean, technically, he is doing his job because he's giving the information that Peter's giving him. He is relaying it to Tony. However, a lot of this problem would have been resolved if he had just also talked to Peter. Like, if he had just replied every once in a while, like that probably, like, or just been like, "Hey, I told Tony." I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Probably would solve a lot of these problems. And then he needs Peter at the end of the day to save him when it comes to moving day. So I don't know. I think I'm going to go LVP for Happy Hogan. Sid, what about you?
It's Liz. She's the most uninteresting of all of Peter Parker's love interests, and she snitched on him and let her father know that he was Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
She didn't know she was snitching.
She did though.
How? Oh, you're saying she did?
No, she did. She did. She did it.
That's
she
fair.
did it.
That's fair. Yeah. Man, that sucks for her. Chase, who's your LVP?
Out of movie LVP, the person who agreed to give Robert Downey Jr. $10 million. What are you fucking doing? I do not understand how you like. And not only that, RDJ refused to reshoots as well. You pay this man all this money, and he's like controlling the. Wait.
What did he need to reshoot?
I guess they want reshoots, and they said no, and he said no. I'm not saying that. No, this Iron Man 4, Spider-Man Homecoming.
What you need to reshoot?
I don't know. That's why this guy gets LVP, because he gave Robert Downey Jr. $10 million, and he asked Robert Downey Jr. for reshoots. So I don't get this guy. But yeah, no, in movie LVP, I'm with SP3. It's Liz. Like, this woman does absolutely nothing throughout this whole movie besides snitch. You know, like, look, at least Happy does something, John. Like, he's an idiot, but he at least does something. He's just not a good communicator. That does bring down the points. Flash was leading a little bit because when he got benched in the decathlon, I was like, oh man, Flash, I gotta give you LVP. You're just a little hater and stuff, but he is funny and endearing. But Liz, nothing. Like, just snitches on Peter without realizing it. Super duper boring too. There's nothing like, besides the fact, oh, she's so pretty. It's like, what about her? Like, we don't know anything about her. Like, just boring. Like, ugh.
We learned more about MJ's personality than we did.
Yeah.
But see, to me, like, that kind of is like a good throwback to a lot of those like high school romance movies where there's the main character, the guy, is like infatuated with that one girl, the popular girl in school, but we realize that he doesn't know anything about her. Like, he doesn't actually understand her, or like, and there's really nothing there. And then there's the girl that he should be with, in this case MJ, and we get to learn more information about her. So from that perspective, I was like,
High School Musical or Spider-Man Homecoming, John?
Well, listen, there's a lot of John Hughes's influences in this movie.
Yes.
So that's why, like, I like, to me, I was like, okay, I can kind of get it. But you know,
that doesn't help the argument against Liz as LVP. I mean, that actually
Well, no, to me, it just is like she's doing what she was supposed to do. Like, the role is what the role.
She's supposed to do nothing. She's did nothing.
I'm talking about the character, not the actor. I'm talking about the character.
I know what you mean. Yeah, the character isn't supposed to do anything. She's supposed to just exist as the object of Peter's desire.
Yeah, and she exists in being boring too. She doesn't do anything. At least the hot girls in those movies, you get at least some scene where you're like, oh, I can see why she's hot. You don't get any scene with that with Liz.
That's for sure. But we have come to the point where I think this one's gonna be pretty easy.
What?
Those in the middle. Spider-Man Homecoming. On 3, 2, 1.
Easy, bro.
This one's I was gonna say this is an easy one. Let's pull up our handy dandy Spider Tracker for Homecoming. Chase, we'll start with you. What do you give this 1 out of 10?
I'm gonna give this one an 8.75 out of 10.
8.7. What is this?
This is being difficult. Go 9 or go 8.5.
It's close. It's in the north. It's in the middle for me. There's stuff that I really like about this movie. It flows really, really well. I like the acting. I like that the MCU is interconnected. It's just one of those movies where it's just like, I can't go back and rewatch it all the time. Like, it's like I have to give space in between, and knowing that it's part of like a bigger thing kind of hurts it a little bit. I'm not one of these people that are like, I hate that he's Iron Boy and not Spider-Man. This is what he is in the MCU. Deal with it. It's his own version of Spider-Man. Like, it's totally different. Like, we just have to deal with it. I feel like we were missing like one or two more set pieces. I guess more Spider-Man would have been nice too. Like, that's my only complaints about the movie. But I love Vulture as a villain. I like the whole plot behind it. I think it's good. It does well for the MCU for what it is. So 8.75.
What are you going with, Sid, out of 10?
Really good movie. It's up there as one of the best live action Spider-Man movies. The simplicity of it all makes it very much stand out. I will go 8.5 out of 10.
I like this one a little bit more than Tobey's first outing, but a little bit less than the Doc Ock outing. I also will go 8.5. Just the Doc Ock Spider-Man 2 is to me just the standard. It's like that is what all of these movies should be trying to emulate and trying to chase. It's the gold standard. It's the Shelton Benjamin of Spider-Man movies.
Oh, come on, what?
It's the gold standard. But these are our thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming. We want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Let us know in the comments what you give this movie out of 10. Let us know who your MVP was, your LVP. What was your favorite moments, your least favorite moments as Spider-Man comes home to Marvel and to the MCU in this movie. I want to thank you guys for tuning in as always. And Chase, let the people know where they can find you.
X at Chase Oliver 68 or Twitter, whatever you want to call it.
And Sid, how about you?
Twitter machine at True SP3, True Hill Heat Wrestling YouTube channel. Y'all know the deal. Rated Raw Review Tuesdays, AE Ramble Thursdays, flagship podcast on Saturdays, and here on this channel, X-Men 97, Power Book 3 Force, and The Shy we are reviewing. So check out all the reviews, the latest reviews, and we'll be back with the next one. Appreciate y'all.
And you guys can always catch me here breaking down everything from the NFL. There's a lot to talk about now. The training camps are starting. Chase and I are going to be getting more into our previews of the season as true offseason slowly makes its transition to true picks. And then, of course, we have our Clocking In series where we talk about everything that happens on the pit. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. As always, this has been a lot of fun going through all of these movies and talking about it, especially because, like, you know, for us, we were talking about it as kids when we were watching the first trilogy. Now 2016, it's not that long ago, more adults, and it just changes how you view these movies. It changes all of the fun stuff that we pick up on. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of Sid, on behalf of Chase, we want to thank you guys as always. Remember, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you all